Here we go. No idea why it stopped. Okay. We should be back.
Cool. Perfect. Let's check. Yes, you are back.
Great. It should have been. Hello again, PenCap. I don't know what happened. This just kind of died. I'm not sure what was going on there. Hello. Okay. Okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody.
Yes. Don't forget. What were we talking about?
We were trying to ask Cookie Dough how her typing went, but I don't know if she's back in.
That would have been great.
See people trickling in slowly.
Goodness. Craig, how was your day today? Craig's dead. He also likes to mute himself a lot.
Yeah, I mute myself. That one good. Finished out the VIP partner profile on Wednesday, so my week's kind of for this week.
Great.
Can we interview Craig now?
She's been dying to do.
Yeah, I ask him some questions, I guess.
Hold up on that. I go unload something real quick. Back.
Unloads. I think that was him saying he needed to use the restroom, but
he's gotta take a shit.
Maybe.
No, I would have just said that.
I think Hi, Joseph. Let's see.
I'm getting some sushi making kits for beginners.
Sushi kits for beginners?
That's correct.
Neat.
Haven't done some onigiri in a while, so that's what we're going for.
Yeah, all of this stuff is okay. Just making sure I didn't have some setting turned on for no good reason. We're good though.
Richard, can you talk about the 8th function? It's the ignored function.
The ignored function? Right? Yeah, we can talk about that. What is it you'd like to know about that one?
Well, I would like to know, I guess, what that looks like in all of the types.
So, how that looks in all 16 personalities? How that's gonna look? Well, I don't think it. I don't think you need to do all 16. I think you can cut that in half because at least 2 personalities share that same function in the same position. So
yeah. So see, now you got 8 of them.
Yeah, so just 8 really. So
don't expect them to.
So let's see. Let's name a function. Let's go with extroverted intuition in the 8th position.
Wow.
So that means when it comes to convoluting ideas or thinking too far outside the box, well, I mean, they don't do it. anyone with that
Mm-hmm.
thing. They don't. They ignore it. It's always a possibility that they could do that, but they don't focus on it whatsoever. They're very much about what's in front of them, what's tangible. Very A to B perception. So there's that. What's another one?
So they don't do it at all, or is it
Yeah,
just
they
like-
like I've tried to talk about crazy. Like let's say I'm talking to my cousin and I'm telling him about this build idea I have for Divinity. He'll be like, that's probably going to be really dumb. And here's what you should do. Here's the min-maxed list of how you should be playing that character. You know, the same way that most other people play that character. This is how you need to be playing it. And I'll be like, wah. But they don't want to entertain those as things that you should be doing.
So when it comes to say like ENFPs and ENTPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would that, in conversation, would that look like not wanting to, I guess, talk about things that are
Staying
going
focused is hard for
okay.
ENTP or an ENFP. That takes years of practice for them to try to stay focused on a particular subject and not have it stray off into another conversation altogether.
Yeah,
So
I'm so
that's going to be
focused,
now.
and
What I have noticed about those types is they prefer. They of course don't prefer to just get physical. They always prefer to convolute their plans. They want to come up with their own plans and their own ideas. And so things like extroverted sensing kind of gets thrown out the window.
Yeah. So how does that look different to say like an INTJ or an INFJ?
How does it look different?
Yeah, where they have that like in the their inferior
the
function.
fourth position. So we'll compare. We'll compare an INFJ to or anyone with a lead preference for introverted intuition, which should only be the two. But having it in the fourth position means it's the disdain position. So you are aware that it exists. You are aware that it's probably important. It's probably something you need to be paying attention to, but you really don't want to. You don't like it that much. So
Gotcha.
there's a difference between, actively trying to suppress something and then just not knowing that it exists, by ignoring it. There's definitely a difference.
I think I'm lost, guys.
You and me both.
I thought we were talking about the eighth function, but
We were, but
No,
Bob
no,
asked me about the
but
difference in there. So
Yeah, I was asking about because I understand that they do different things, but it sounded somewhat similar to the fourth function. So I was just
okay, that's where I was confused because the fourth function NE is ISTJs and ISFJs, not INTJs and INFJs. By the way,
did you say extroverted intuition?
yes. It's okay. I just wanted to clarify because I don't know if everybody else was as confused as I was for a second when Bob said INTJ. I was like, what?
What? Yeah, so when it comes to extroverted sensing, an INTJ or an INFJ, they are aware that it's something that they can focus on. It's probably something that's going to be important to them. But in their earlier years, they're like, I don't need to worry about that right now. I've got other plans that I need to be making. And then maybe as I get older, that's something you can focus on. Which they do. I mean, they inevitably start doing, they start working out, going jogging every day or focusing on physical strength, maybe working on their diet. A number of things.
All right. So let's do another type with the eighth function.
The eighth function?
Pick a function.
Yeah, pick one.
Gosh.
Pick a function for the eighth position.
All right,
Team got
introverted
rolled.
feeling.
Introverted feeling in the 8th
I-
position, once again, ignored. So now that's actually particularly interesting because you'll notice that ISTPs would have introverted feeling in the 8th position as well as INTPs. So when your own personal feelings are getting ignored, they tend to come out in very unhealthy ways when you're ignoring them.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really? How
a
did...
good example is Guts from Berserk. If anyone knows that at all, he was always frustrated. It seemed like he didn't realize that he was always sounding angry or being frustrated, and he would get violently angry out of nowhere, seemingly, like uncalled for, most certainly. And so they don't want to talk about their feelings at all. Yeah, whether it is INTPs, ISTPs, they don't want to talk about those feelings. But they will manifest themselves typically in very unhealthy ways.
Gotcha.
When it does show up.
I mean, I think we can all agree that I can agree that we have perfect examples of most of the ISTPs in the Discord.
We've got a few.
God, aren't those people nerve-wracking to be around in real life, though? You never know when that switch will flip.
Yeah.
A full
Be careful.
psycho on you.
You remember Spencer?
Yeah.
Spencer's an ISTP.
That makes
All right. So what about extroverted thinking as the 8th function for like ESFJs, right?
ESFJ and ENFJs. So
Mm-hmm.
they would understandably rather just go along with they would rather go along with a group to make sure that they when it comes to whether or not they're agreeing with each other logically, that's not really important to the ESFJ or the ENFJ. What matters is that they are working together. That there is harmony within the group setting. So once again, an ignored function. It's just ignored. And if they need to come up with something logical, they can either assign someone to be the logical portion of a group setting, or they can try and figure it out themselves. But once again, they're like, I don't need to do that because I've got so many people that I'm working with. I can delegate this to one of them. So once again, that's just not something that they focus on.
Oh,
Hello,
we've got
Shannon.
more people.
Got more people.
Shannon.
We may have to move this.
Okay.
We may end up having to move this to another thing because no one obviously knows that I'm streaming.
It's true.
I mean, we can name the channel as streaming. It's not a problem.
You could do that. Let's see here.
I'll do it. I'll put the status of it. Don't you worry.
All my batteries are dead.
Right. Might be able to do my questions later anyways. I think I'm going bowling with your brother tonight.
Is it league night?
Probably gonna hit.
Like bowling
Nah, they
league
wanna do like a
night?
practice.
Okay. Yeah, bowling's fun. That's what I'm gonna do when I go up to Oregon.
Build a question tomorrow.
Just that.
What?
Been bowling once.
This
I said I've only been bowling once.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Alright.
Just need to
I'll bounce out.
get back
You
to
guys have
chat.
fun on your stream.
All
Chat
right,
with you guys
thanks. Catch you later.
later.
Because I don't remember if Ven left before I got to my conclusion. So basically, I noticed gave a bunch of
I'm here.
extroverted thinking reasons, something. Anyways, let's see. A man with Russian letters for a name. I don't know if he asked any questions. I wasn't paying attention.
No, chat is not ignored. No, I've been reading everything you said. I just didn't know anything was a question.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Yes, I remember now. He asked which personalities make the best liars, but I thought we were gonna finish with Bob's before moving to that one.
We can do that as well. Best liars. I don't know what it like. The ones that can lie all the time and not get caught, like for more regularly. ESTPs, ENTPs. I imagine ESFJs also. ISFJs could probably do it too. Now, whether or not they would want to do that, that's another story. But in terms of being good liars, they seem to be able to pull that off.
I disagree with all that because I don't see how that's possible for them to be good liars.
Well,
It's
explain to
easy
me
tell
why
when
not.
someone lies. Because it's easy to tell when someone lies. Like I,
Okay.
uh-huh.
No, that's
Go ahead.
fine. If you think it's easy, then it's easy. You know, who am I to argue?
I've never had a problem noticing when someone lies. Like, sure, maybe a couple might escape me, but most of the time you can tell when someone is lying.
Most people can't, and so we can't say things like that.
Oh,
Most
I
people
see.
can believe that someone's lying, most certainly, but
Mhm.
whether or not they actually know that someone's lying,
Mhm.
that requires some talent for certain.
Just look them in the eyes, guys.
Just
Look
look
them in the eyes.
So yes, best liars, the ones that are good at concealing those motives, then yes, the four that I mentioned. But anyways, let's go on with what Bob was talking about, which was what it looks like for which functions to be in the 8th position, or as I call it, the ignored position.
So, introverted intuition.
Introverted intuition in the 8th position. So we were looking for ISFJs and ISTJs. When it comes to ambition,
Yeah,
in life,
I guess they just ignore it.
they don't even bother coming up with their own plans. Like they're not going to go out there and find their own path to be being successful or happy. They follow the programming. What is it they're supposed to be doing to be happy? And so that's why it's always I think it was Ven and I were talking about what personality type Laura Croft was supposed to be. And we had discussed what if Laura Croft was in fact an ISTJ or an ESTJ for that matter, and we discussed how that might have been possible. But Laura, or Lara, however you pronounce it, she really, really wants to go out there and save the world. Like that's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. She clearly has her own ambition. She clearly thinks very highly of herself. And that is not something that you would see in someone that has introverted intuition in the 8th position. Very last one. Let's see.
So, introverted sensing.
In the last position, or in the 8th position? Oh, goodness. So that's going to be... Oh,
INTJ,
that's INTJs and INFJs. Their memory is atrocious. Absolutely. They misremember reality. It's almost like they're talking about a different timeline that they've come from, about how events have unfolded.
We've had that happen too.
Awful. Just some of the worst memory. Jeez. It's so bad. Which, by the way, I always thought that was kind of weird that they people would talk, when I was first getting an MBTI, they would talk about the INFJ door slam. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Like that was very common. In that apparently, once an INFJ is done with you, they're done with you. Like they'll just abruptly, in quotes, slam the door, and then you're out of their life forever. And I was like, well, that's. I mean, I understand why that might work because an INFJ is always moving forward. They're not moving backwards. They're always trying to move forward in their life. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. At the same time, their memory is supposed to be so trash. How are they going to remember that they slammed the door in someone's face?
Yeah.
Can you just weasel your way back into their life? That kind of a thing? Because their memory's atrocious. Did I ask bad questions? I don't know about questions. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions.
So how would that compare though to like an ENTP and ENFP with introverted sensing?
So you think your memory's bad? It's so much worse for some people. Like I would say that on my absolute best day, my memory is average. I can't tell you what happened in the first 10 minutes of my day. I can't tell you how many times I used the bathroom. I can't tell you a lot about what I've done today. And I've been awake for hours, but I can't tell you. But it's not even just that, an INFJ or an INTJ isn't going to remember what happened. It's that they'll remember a different reality. It's almost like they're not even using their memory. They're trying to construct what could have happened logically according to them. So it's that bad. The memory's so bad that they cannot remember, and they have to construct past events to where it makes sense to them. So what types have good memory? Well, most sensors have good memory. Introverted sensors having the best memory, and then followed by extroverted sensors have better memory, then followed by extroverted intuitives, then introverted intuitives.
They said to Venn, and then I don't know if they were trying to tell me that ISTJs are NPCs, basically, which I know, but I don't know if that was directed to me or why. That was confusing.
I don't know. Let's see.
Yes, my friend is my calendar, basically. She called me a couple days ago to remind me that my mom's birthday was coming up, so I shouldn't forget to get her a birthday present.
Yep.
I did not remember it was my mom's birthday coming up. I don't really follow birthdays, so they're not a priority for me.
And she's a ISFJ, right?
Yeah, she is.
Typed her myself, in fact. And she is a very sweet young woman.
So the further down that the functions go, would you say that they're more ignored?
Not typically.
Like
So
like 5, 6, 7.
It seemed to me, I had a theory in that when it comes to those in quote shadow functions, which I'm sick of calling them shadow functions, it sounds edgy for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But in the functions 5 through 8, it seems to me that you still have a stronger preference for, let's say, your 5th function than you do your 4th. As an example, possibly even your 3rd. So for an ENTP, for example, they probably have a stronger preference for introverted intuition. They can imagining where they'll be, the visions of their future and what they could accomplish, versus having that, choosing to use extroverted feeling as an example, in terms of how often they use it. But after that, it seems like most of the time it just gets straight up ignored. So for me, for example, extroverted thinking, I don't like it at all. I actively try to avoid using it. If it's something I don't know personally and then I haven't personally deduced, then I just straight up tell you I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you about how, I'm not going to tell you information that I read on some article someplace. I'll simply say that, oh, well, I don't know if any of that's actually true. That's it. I have a big problem with using extroverted thinking. And then when it comes to, let's say, introverted feeling, which would be the 7th position, I don't have much of an opinion, if any at all, when it comes to ethics, morals, values. This is life. Life is messy, and everyone's got their own subjective opinion as to what should be a value or what should be a principle or an ethical code or anything like that. And so that's where a conversation about feelings with me will devolve. You know, that's where it'll spiral out to, is a philosophical discussion about ethics. But to actually have any ethics, not as much.
Yeah.
Not as big on ethics is all. So.
Please make sure you guys are not using any bad words in the chat.
No bad words in the chat, Bob.
Hey, I'm
No,
not in
it
the
wasn't
chat this
Bob.
time.
It wasn't Bob, it was Joseph.
I just like blaming Bob for stuff. Just say Bob.
Technically, it would have been me if I was not in the stream.
No,
It would have been.
today it was Erton who dropped the F-bomb.
I did. That was my fault.
He got the slash already. You need to make me mod from this like YouTube chat.
You should give him a warning in Discord.
I'll give back the warning in Discord.
No, Urchin. You should give him one for swearing and. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true. You know what? I can't give him
Admonish
a warning.
me. He said a swear. And I do say swears from time to time. And I shouldn't. Sans table is Aaron. Alright, so today we were supposed to bring on possibly a special guest to tell us about socionics and hope that we'll learn something from it.
Okay. See, I actually do want to be type. You know, I like to learn about these things. I don't want to discount it because I don't know about it. So I want to actually be typed
Mhm.
properly and learn about it after that. for
Properly?
sure.
Okay.
I just don't know who. I didn't know.
Is it possible to
Where does-
get Aaron?
Yeah, we
On
can get
here?
Aaron in here. Bags. To answer your question, it would be your type, an ESFP,
What was the question?
an ENTP.
What was the answer? So an ENTP in socionics is an ESFP in...
No. I mean,
MBTI?
he asked. You have to read his question because I can't read it here on stream.
Oh, okay.
He asked which types are
Are liars? Cheats? Swindlers?
No, the other one that we were discussing with him before we joined the voice chat.
Skanky?
Skanky?
Yes.
Does anyone even use that word anymore?
Well, I was trying to think of a word from, the ones that we were saying in the voice chat before.
I see.
Promiscuous.
A skanky seemed nicer than the other ones.
It was a nicer alternative.
Makes sense to me.
So can we get Aaron, you think?
I'm already sending him an invite. Give me a second.
Okay, I
I'm
just...
not,
I was curious on an update, that's all. I just wanted an update.
You know that you tell me, I do. Right? Like this. Hey, this
Hey.
is how it works.
Ben said that ESTPs. Wait, no, maybe you were. No, I thought you said they were ESTPs, that they were the gigolos.
They can be. They'd be better at it.
Yeah. I think they would be nice at it.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing: the ESTPs that I know, like some ESTPs that I've met, they're very physical, I would say. Now maybe it's the TIFE, combination in the middle.
Yep. It helps. We live in a very physical world. And so having a preference towards the physical is mostly just an advantage. Yeah, sure, it's good to be able to regularly think outside the box or come up with these incredibly imaginative inventions or, discover brand new technologies. Absolutely, that's good. How many of those people do you need? Really? I mean, how many of them do you really need? Like, the world would probably be a better place if I had a preference for extroverted sensing rather than extroverted intuition. I legitimately believe that. The world would be ever so slightly better place.
you're so wholesome though.
I am incredibly wholesome. Lazy, though. Let's see.
So Wildman is asking which stereotypes about any type you find having no grounds to be based on, if there are any.
So any extroverted intuitive type stereotypes that have no grounds for extroverted
Yeah, any stereotype
intuitives.
for any. No, for all types.
Oh, for any type, which one has no grounds? INFJs are the ones you hear about the most, and they say things like INFJs can walk into a room and immediately know what everyone's feeling. That's retarded and a superpower, and we're not. Obviously, that's not correct. So, do not come into my Discord and tell me about how INFJs have hyper empathic powers, because they don't. What you're talking about is an INFP, not J, which is a completely different person at that point. So do not do that. And that would be one stereotype. Also, there's been a lot of ESFPs that self-type as ESTPs. And some of them end up going to the gym and being incredibly obnoxious and more or less not fun or pleasant to be around. And so some people get the impression that ESTPs are supposed to be gym rats. They're not. They go to the gym if they need to go to the gym. And in most cases, ESTPs do not need to go to the gym. Now in terms of self-improvement related people, however, ISTPs might go to the gym because they're really interested in self-improvement. And of course, you go to the gym, there's a greater chance for confrontation at a gym or just being around people in general, which satisfies both those needs. It's self-improvement plus the possibility of getting into a fight with someone. So there's that.
Are ISTPs really into self-improvement?
Yeah. They want to be better. They want to be a better version of themselves. Some of them get depressed, and then they stop worrying about self-improvement for a bit. But outside of that, they very much care about self-improvement. Now, do they do it in the same ways that like an INTJ or an INFJ does self-improvement? It's not the same. No, and certainly not to that same level of intensity. But it is there. They still have that clear vision of what they want to be and how they want to look and appear to other people, how they are perceived by others. So they have an understanding of that. Now, when they don't make it there, that's when they start getting depressed. So, did I really drink all? I guess I did.
Aaron is here now.
Aaron, how's it going?
It's going quite well, lad. I see you've been having a nice World of Warships background stream.
It's
with
World of
MBTI.
Warships, yes.
I was about to say World of Ships, but then I remember it's short for WoW, and I had to figure that one out quickly.
We lost our stream for a little bit earlier. I'm not sure why, but just like
I was a
went
bit
down.
confused because I was sitting there on my phone and I'm like, did my internet go out? Am I going crazy? What happened?
Why not both? All right. So Aaron is far more educated in the ways of socionics than I'll ever be. So can you tell us about whether or not the descriptions that we read for certain types, is that really a part of socionics, or is that someone's fan fiction?
It's more of a... This is something we have seen to be as a generalization true, and we have just written it down as a, hey, you can take a look at this if you want. Would I consider it a part of core socionics? No.
Okay,
But
great.
most of the actual socionics authors do provide a little bit of credence to it, to the point where they're not going to use it as the main typing system, but it's like, do bear in mind that, for example, ENTPs like fidgeting a lot, and they tend to have... I don't know, they tend to gesticulate. That's something about ENTPs. For example, INTJs tend to have weirdly sharp noses. And it's like, is that actually part of the theory? No. When
Thank
I
God.
personally tested it in my life, I found it to be surprisingly accurate.
Oh, okay.
70% of the time. So 70% of the time. I don't think 70% is a good enough percentage to cover the entire theory. But
Mhm.
when something's 70% accurate, I think it is worth noting.
Mhm. Okay.
That makes sense.
There's nothing.
Can you-
So people of certain ethnic backgrounds could never possibly be certain personality types because, their
Okay,
facial
you know what,
structures are going to be
You've
different.
kind of caught me out here. The difference here is that the entire population sample is done on white Russians in the more
Oh,
developed area.
okay. So maybe it's
Yeah,
not as
they
accurate
might-
in Vietnamese people, for
No,
example.
it's not, and it's
Okay.
definitely not as accurate in, for example, African people of African descent. Okay.
Okay.
Because they're not going to have as sharp of a nose ever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when you're looking at, let's say, white Europeans, it's surprisingly accurate. Okay.
Interesting. So do we think
everything-
that's a genetic thing then? Is
No.
what we would be talking
They
about?
never
It's something
wrote
genetic.
down why they think it is. It's just this is a correlation we've noticed among white Russian people in the metro areas.
Okay.
Make of this what you will.
When do you think when did they come up with this?
Don't know when they came up with it. I never took a look at when they came up with it and why they ever got to it. I just took a look at what they discovered, how they wrote it down, and if I could notice the same patterns within the people I knew.
Okay. Well,
Can you explain what the functions look like in socionics? Because it sounded like they were a little bit different than BTI.
They are quite different from MBTI. It depends on the function. Each function is different in certain key ways, and I could not possibly explain all 8 of them in one monologue.
my goodness,
Wow. Wow.
that's intense.
That's crazy.
Well, is there like a couple of them that you know?
Can we go with any? Let's do any.
Any is
Extroverted
almost exactly
intuition.
the same. Any extroverted intuition, it's got certain key differences, but it's probably one of the most unchanged functions between the systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's still got the same basic thing of considering all of the possibilities. It's got this little funny, goofy factor of considering things that don't really matter. It's also got the slightly erratic nature of being a bit all over the place. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything specific else that I should mention.
All right. What about introverted feeling and extroverted feeling?
Extroverted feeling, it almost feels the same, looks the same, but I wouldn't. There's certain core differences that you can notice different, but you're not going to. If you think somebody's an extroverted feeling dom in MBTI, they're probably an extroverted feeling base in socionics as well. Okay. The
Okay.
difference mainly though is with introverted feeling, where it's completely different. Like there's been quite common where you get typed as extroverted thinker dom in MBTI, and you go into socionics and you're an introverted feeler.
Huh.
And the basics. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's valid the entire time, but somebody who's an introverted, specifically ESI. Okay, let's use ESI. ESI would be the socionics equivalent of ISFP. Okay, the difference would be ISFP and MBTI tends to be very, not open-minded, but very caring, very passive, very laid back. Okay,
And that was for
That
which?
sounds just like Ben.
ISFP.
ISFP.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
Okay. But in socionics, it's not the same at all. Socionics, they're actually ISFJs because the J and P are inverted and introverted types. But they'd be very assertive, very goal-driven, very powerful sounding when they speak. They'd almost give this vibe of boss bitch energy, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
This tends to be a predominantly female type, and whenever you know, the women tend to get this like peak boss bitch energy, and the men tend to be weirdly edgy. I wouldn't say weirdly edgy, but they're you will notice a lot of ESIs are into stuff like Andrew Tate, where they've got this strong moral, ethical background, and then they've got the assertive nature of extroverted sensing. By the way, extroverted sensing is also very different, so it makes ESI as a whole a completely different beast. I think the difference between, let's move back to introverted feeling because that was what was asked.
Mhm.
The difference between introverted feeling in MBTI and introverted feeling in socionics, and you know what, take whatever I say about MBTI with a grain of salt because admittedly I don't know much. In MBTI, it is introverted feeling. It's almost a subjective view of feelings, your own feelings on a situation. Correct me if I am wrong. Am I
For introverted
incorrect in that
feeling?
step?
It sounded
Yeah.
like introverted feeling.
Yeah.
Or at least
Okay.
something related.
If you have a more accurate description, please do share.
Nah, I think that was good enough for the purposes of this explanation.
Thank you. Then in socionics, introverted feeling is actually ethics, okay? Or introverted ethics, okay? Lamsource did actually happen to mention that to you then when he was typing you.
Mm-hmm.
In socionics, we do ethics and logic, not feeling and thinking. When you say somebody is an FI user, you're saying that they have a lot of introverted ethics that they might not be sharing with people at all times, but they are using to view a situation in. For instance, like an ESI, for example, will oftentimes go, hey, I view what you did. Well, they don't communicate it often. Most of the time they keep it to themselves, but they'll be like, I find what this person did as disgusting for X, Y, and Z reason. And they'll explain it to themselves. They won't often explain it to the group. They feel that this is a very private matter. It's between themselves and their own conscience. And they'll just judge what everybody does on a very ethical level. Do I believe this was right? Do I believe this was pleasant? Do I believe this was correct? Okay? This is why when you were reading those appearance descriptions, ESIs are very characterized by this air of disgust and disdain that they have for other people that somewhat creeps in, because they have a disgust when people don't match their own introverted ethics, and with the extroverted sensing, they have the confidence to display that to other people.
I see.
Whereas, for example, let's move on to EII, which is FINE. Okay, they have the same level of disgust for when somebody breaks certain ethical boundaries in their head, not head, but what they hold dear to them. But they do not have the confidence to actually bring up the issue with a person that caused it, whereas an ESI does.
So that's why Bob got an EFI.
I'm still confused on where the ethics came in, though.
That's because we don't do feeling. There's no such
Yeah,
thing
so
as introverted feeling. It's introverted ethics.
Yeah, and so in MBTI, introverted feeling encompasses things like ethics, morals, values. But in socionics, they don't even go with feelings at all. It's only ethics and principles.
Yeah,
and
there's
values.
no such thing as feelings.
Which, of course,
because
those come from feelings. So I'm wondering how they make that distinction.
the interesting part was in socionics, you've got this little culture exchange with the Russian nature of it, but they believe that the ethics comes first, the ethics and the logic come first, and that your feelings is just a reaction to your own internal logic or internal ethics being not stimulated in a certain way, but they're responding to something. This
And
is
I
why
think I go in
socionics,
the reverse, usually.
you could go in reverse, but that's not what socionics believes.
Yeah, no, I'm gathering that. Okay, so this is socionics is a Russian-made typology.
It's Russian. The original author is Lithuanian, and the current, what do we call it? The current most used author is Ukrainian. So it's not Russian per se, but they use the Russian language in all of their original writings, and it's almost Russia focused.
Okay.
I suppose you could say Soviet Union as a whole, but yes, or for post-Soviet Union now.
Didn't know that.
But it does, to a certain extent, show the whole, in my opinion, the whole Russian perspective that feelings themselves are just a reaction to somebody's logic or ethics, rather than actually being a starting point. and that's something that like Eastern European society has a much different perspective on than like Western society, because as you just said, you would believe that the like emotions came first and then the ethics and logic.
Yeah. So what I mean when it comes to wondering why what you believe is wrong, you eventually like ethically, morally wrong, you can logically you can explain it, you can articulate, you can rationalize why something is logically considered wrong, bad, morally outrageous, etc. But eventually you get back to, well, I just feel like that's why. If you keep asking enough questions, you eventually get to a feelings related answer.
Like, I'm not in a position to actually dictate whether I believe that feelings or ethics or logic come first. I'm just saying this is what they believe in socionics.
Yeah.
I can understand how you can have a different perspective. I can definitely see it.
Ooh, that was close.
But for instance, one of the reasons why I like socionics viewpoints here is because it also explains why TI users would get angry. Because one thing they said for like an ILE, okay, ENTP, okay, is this type of person can get very upset if their logical consistency is thrown out of balance, but they don't really care about emotions, about ethics that much.
Okay.
So they'll have emotions in relation to the logical consistency, okay, but they don't have the ethics. So if you were going from your perspective where you have the emotions first, somebody like an ILE would go entirely into the logic of the emotions instead of the ethics.
Okay.
Because it's true that like an ENTP or ILE would still have those same emotions, but they don't have the ethics.
Don't have the ethics.
They don't have the.
Well, right.
They don't have the.
When I'm making an argument, I don't.
No, you would have your entire argument based on the logical consistency, and
what I'm looking
let's
for.
say your ILE. Okay, so I'll use ILE for example. If you value TI and the TE comes very naturally to you. Okay. So the TI in socionics is logical consistency, for lack of a better term. It's like, is what I'm saying consistent, and do I believe it to match up with what I've said in the past and what I truly believe? That is TI. Okay. In MBTI, it seems like SI more takes this role of consistency, but in socionics, it's almost entirely TI.
Okay.
When a TI user would say something, they like pointing out the consistency. So like if you had somebody who had a hole in their logic about the whole, let's say, emotions and logic thing, emotions, logic, and ethics, okay? You would be like, this doesn't make sense because of this at which I have seen. Okay, this is also going into perception functions, which I'm derailing it slightly. The perception functions also apply to how the judgment functions take in information. So you can't just use the judgment functions completely independently.
Okay.
So for example, if like any TI would be like, I have seen a couple possibilities. This is a very generic example. And it's like, in all of these different possibilities, this is a common denominator. So what is it with this common denominator that makes it so important to all of these possible outcomes? That would be the TI. They're like busy seeing all the possibilities with any, and they're using the TI to effectively go, what is the consistency between all of this? What is what makes this all coherent? So TI effectively does just sit there and it structures things. In socionics, it's most well known for structuring things.
Okay.
Like, and that's why they're good debaters in MBTI terms, because they're able to structure their argument in a way that it makes complete logical sense, and that if anybody else were they've now built a house, they've structured a house. If somebody were to go below at their house, like the wolf did to the little piggies, there'd be no structural flaws.
Okay. No structural flaws.
Not no structural flaws, but they'll have less structural flaws than most other low TI types would have.
Okay.
Interesting. See, I need to learn more about this.
So TI is structuring and logical consistency, FI is ethics, and then after ethics, the emotional reaction to the ethics to the other people. Those are two ones that are very importantly changed. FE and TE aren't changed much. Important thing to note is that TE no longer has the same goal-seeking behavior as it would have in MBTI.
Hmm.
Okay.
And
Did
I
they
have been
use
told by-
socionics? Did they use socionics, like, you know, government-wise?
no, they don't use socionics government-wise.
Ah,
No official system uses socionics, and I do believe that MBTI is more corporately affected, corporately used than socionics. So in that way, you could actually say that MBTI is more credited than socionics.
okay. Rachel, this is Aaron. He is our resident socionics expert in the Discord. Would you consider yourself an expert?
Wouldn't consider myself an expert, mostly because I know that there are people who definitely know more than me.
Okay.
But I'd say I know enough to represent the system in a very menial capacity.
All right. Well, he's the best we got for socionics.
No, we could have contacted Lamb Sauce.
Could have contacted Lamb Sauce, possibly. Well, we've got to, actually have some conversation first, so that you can make sure that he's safe for stream, kind of thing.
Yeah, he should be, but I had been told by 2 other people before that had typed, not like fully typed me, but that I would be an ENTJ in socionics. That's what they believed.
Neat.
Well, I don't know.
Aaron, type us in socionics. Go.
You are almost poster child early in a weirdly depressed way. That's not an insult. Sorry if that came across as such.
I have no idea what that means.
No one is insulted here. So who is ILE? Urchin?
It's Urchin.
Okay.
Yeah,
To a certain
that makes
extent,
sense.
he also shows a lot of LIE type qualities where he's very serious, forthcoming. That's the word. But his core ideology, to a certain extent, actually, you know what? Give me a second on this one. I might want to reconsider how I view this. You come off as very stereotypically early in the way that you phrase yourself and your adherence to the environment, but the way at which you would handle, I should probably probe for it first. Usually, the difference that I can very easily see is, Ally. So you're definitely extroverted, intuitive thinker. Okay.
Okay.
Now the reason why I say that and not quadra first, and you don't know what any of this means, is because you give off the energy of somebody who has a lot of ideas and is just trying to collect them all together and make a plan and go down with that plan. Now,
Interesting.
the problem is, ILEs tend to be very unorganized and very slow to commit to any business endeavors. Okay?
That's Urchin.
The problem from my perspective is that you are quite old, and that from your perspective, your life seems to be a lot more organized than an ILE at 21. So if I were to compare you to an ILE at 21, you come off as so much more organized that I really need to consider, are you actually an ILE?
Does he come in as organized?
Well, from my very young perspective, he does. He comes off as maybe not organized for how old he is, but compared to like my peers or even your people in your early 20s, he comes off as a lot more organized than an ENTP or ILE in his 20s would.
Do you know he's 35, right?
I'm aware. It's just I'm saying that, that as a statement, I need to consider. Whereas, for example, ENTJ and socionics, there's a little bit of an overlap because ENTJs tend to be a lot more serious and goal-driven, whereas ENTPs kind of lose the plot a little bit. I would probably consider you an ENTP. I cannot think about anything else which would fit better. Nah,
Okay.
What's called ILE actually. Thing is with ENTP and Socionics or ILE, it's not that much different from MBTI, so it's not going to come as a giant shocker to you.
Okay.
The only real difference is the TI. I say real difference, it's minor at best, where the FE is also different. The difference between FE and Socionics and MBTI is that FE is your ability to control group atmosphere. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a good example of that with you is you're not a very emotive person, but when you are speaking or when somebody else isn't speaking, you make a very good job. You do a very good job at making sure that the conversation maintains flowing, so that the conversation keeps going uninterrupted and that it feels smooth. This is a very passive thing that you do though, because you never take central attention of a conversation. You allow people to do what they're doing while still assisting in the flow of it. And that would be a very good example of FE mobilizing, where FE in Socionics is the vibe itself. I say vibe, but it's the atmosphere. It's the how people are interacting. It's the harmony. It's the expression. And in the mobilizing position in an ILE or ENTP 4 letters is you are able to really understand how the FE works, but you're unable to use a large amount of it not in private. You're unable to use a large amount of it on your own. As a singular entity, you are not very good at using a large amount of FE. Okay, but you're very good at noticing it in other people and assisting it.
Okay.
And it's not obvious, but you do a very good job at maintaining this almost background character flow in a conversation, where you do need somebody else to do the speaking for you. Maybe you don't need it, but oftentimes when somebody else is speaking, you almost assist them in it. You have no direct need to be the one speaking yourself. And then when you feel that that person has ran out of things to say, you will almost give them a little nudge on how they can continue the conversation. Which means you have a very accurate idea of what's going on in the conversation, which means you're definitely FE valuing to some capacity, and it is mediocre, but you're not quite using it yourself in crazy capacities.
That's not what I go to for a lot of situations in life.
No, but yeah. It wouldn't be your own used function, but you're very good at understanding it from other people.
Okay.
In the TI, I told you about the whole structuring thing. I'm not actually aware that also exists in MBTI. I don't think it does. I think that the whole structuring idea, well, it seems obvious once it's explained in Socionics, for the same to apply to MBTI. I don't think it's ever actually laid out as structuring and logical consistency. In any case, I think that is all there is to say about ILE. It should be more or less the same as it to be.
Okay.
It is ILE.
Yes.
Then, the problem is, so I'm just going to continue typing all of you. The problem is with Ven here, is she's very obviously Gamma Quadra. Okay? Gamma Quadra would include ESI, SEE, LIE, and ILI. Okay? Now, I couldn't really... I think that the ESI typing might actually be right. That's the reason why I think that I don't have much more to add here. LIE in Socionics is definitely something that I see. LIE would be ENTJ in 4-letter. The reasoning behind why I think you're either ISFP, it's actually ISFJ because the J and P are switched in Socionics into Ridiculous. I think that you're a judging type mainly due to your almost on the ball response to actions. You almost don't let something simmer first. You already have a judgment of it before it's actually done much. Whereas like a more perception-based type, like an ILE, like for example, Street Urchin almost lets something happen for a while before he says anything or makes an opinion on it. Whereas you're quite different, where you've almost immediately got an opinion on something, or at least you give off the air of you've already got an opinion on something before it's actually simmered much. I think that honestly you give off a lot more FI energy in socionics than you give TE energy. I don't have the best reasoning for that. I think that oftentimes a lot of your takes are a lot more FI based on the ethics than TE based. The thing is, when it comes to the internet, you almost feel like people give off the inverse of what they would actually display in real life, especially among Gamma Quadra types, where you can, what would you call it? They tend to be a bit more, not secretive, but obtuse in the way in which they display their true behavior. They're almost trying to hide how they actually act, because a certain amount of paranoia and a certain amount of privacy that they require. Like for example, an ESI or an LIE. Now here's the thing, ESIs are almost always going to come off as a lot more imposing than an LIE, and you definitely come off as imposing. From my perspective, I could be wrong. Another thing that makes socionics typings very interesting is you don't know what effect they have on you compared to what effect they have on other people. I suppose this is also the same for MTI, but when you're using when so much of a system is based off what their behavior is, you don't know if your presence affects the behavior and if it's only you who perceives the behavior in a certain way. So you need to understand the behavior relative to you, okay? I'm going to find Ven intimidating to a certain degree because she might be older than me. She might be in a position. Not
You
of
hear that,
authority,
Ven? You're
but
old.
supremacy.
No, everybody has found me intimidating since I was very young, and I think it mostly has to do with me being Dominican, because Dominicans do not find me intimidating. It's only everybody outside of the Dominicans. So, for example, if you meet my mom, like everybody that has met my mom when it comes to that was younger, like my friends, they find my mom very intimidating, right? And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you don't look like your mom because she's just so imposing," right? But that's just normal for us to be like that. Like they kind of it's part of the culture. I say we're very intimidating in a way most of the time. But when I'm with them or around people, I am the little hidden bunny at the corner because I find them intimidating. I guess it's a matter of perspective when it comes to that.
It is a matter of perspective. For instance, I don't know, how do you act among people in real life or people that you know? You come off as not intimidating. I mean, intimidating is not quite the correct word to describe it, but you come off very strongly, very confident. You come off as very confident, you come off as opinionated and confident in the same way. I don't mean to use opinionated as a negative term, by the way. Some people use opinionated as a negative term. I find it very entertaining.
Okay.
So do I.
Great.
But when you're opinionated and confident at the same time, in my opinion, you do give off a certain era of being moderately intimidating. Okay? Do I think that leads into socionics? But the thing is, I don't know if I have an example. Do you know who Mr. Beast is? This is a very easy example.
I've heard the name, but
yes.
I can't put a face to it.
Have you ever seen how he behaves?
Yes.
He's a very good example of LIE or ENTJ in socionics, okay? And this is one of the big things that makes ENTJ and socionics a lot different from ENTJ and MTI. He's very goal-driven, yet he's also very passive when he interacts with other people. You understand? They might have this big overarching plan, but when they actually interact with other people, it comes off as very passive. It comes off as a bit laid back and almost out of the way. They kind of fade into the background and kind of just let everybody else do their thing. For instance, they have the same dimensionalities as ILE. Okay, so an LIE and an ILE, so an NTP and an NTJ, are going to act very similar to each other in how they appear to other people. They might have completely different reasons as to why they act the same way, but they're going to act very similarly in most situations.
Really? In socionics, they act similarly.
They act very similarly. In
Neat.
MBTI, no, that's different because in MBTI, like, you have no 8-function dimension, or you do, but you don't have the same 8-function dimensionality, which makes ENTJ and NTP effectively the same type but reversed. That's why the names ENTJ and NTP, you know that little small p or small j that they do at the end there? It's because they're symbolizing that NTP and NTJ are almost effectively the same type, but the P or J alters the entire personality around.
Oh.
This is why the whole thing about NTJs being super assertive in MBTI is super weird from a socionic standpoint, because an NTJ and MBTI is NTJ and socionics is going to come off as exactly the same as an ENTP in like 90% of scenarios.
Huh.
It's only once you like actually figure out why they do what they do, because they've got completely different reasons why they do it, but they do the same behaviors.
In MBTI, an ENTJ is very focused, very goal-oriented and driven. They actually do stuff. No excuses, you know, they do what they're supposed to do. They have their own plans, goals, ambitions, and they get them done. They're all about hyper efficiency, and then of course a strong preference for extroverted thinking. That's not an ENTP at all. In MBTI.
No,
what was Ben's type again?
I think that she is an ISFJ. In MBTI, that'd be ISFP. The three-letter terminology that most people use in socionics is ESI.
Okay.
I did consider ENTJ, but like I struggle to understand how it should be. You know what? Here's a little interesting part. Okay, I would perceive Ven as being intimidating because her SE comes off as intimidating to my SE in socionics. Okay. If you do not have SE yourself, you're not going to be able to perceive the intimidation of the other person's SE, okay? Because you don't have it in the same position where it would be a threat to you. For instance, like for Street Urchin. But like, I don't actually like how this is sorted out, because according to how I've just typed you and Ven would be conflictor types. Which means that you two would always butt heads about stupid shit, which is obviously not true. And this is the part where socionics doesn't quite lose its validity, but it stops making sense a little bit. Because a big thing about socionics that they focus on a lot is intertype relations. Now, the belief is that more important than the actual types themselves is how the types interact with each other. And this, it kind of messes everything up, because, for instance, Ven's type that I've typed her and what I've typed you should almost always be in conflict. The reasoning being, okay, sorry, I was speaking over you, you can go.
No, go ahead,
The reasoning being is because FISE and NETI are the exact opposite of each other, conflict blocks wise. Okay. And ILE will be scared of the FI that an ESI is using, and an ESI will be very unentertained with the NE that the ILE is using, and combined with that with the SE of the ESI and the TI of EID, and these two types will almost always argue. But I don't see this with how you and Vayne interact. It just doesn't. It doesn't show to me. Okay, which is why I think that hey, maybe you should check out. Might you be a different type? For instance, shit. Actually, I'm a lost for words. Sorry.
I wouldn't know how to describe me, so I can help you. But I do think that you were pretty accurate on urchins. Like, it does sound like an ENTP.
Okay. If anything, what
But
I
him and I are definitely not fighting all day.
No,
I don't think.
Word.
I think, yeah.
We don't butt heads on anything, as far as I know.
Yeah, really. Like, it's very chill.
which is why I'd somewhat doubt the typing I gave you here.
Well, you
Yeah.
also have to spend more time around me. Yeah, you
because
also
I'm
have to
just
spend more time around me.
I heard
the
a pretty
way that
wild
you-
story yesterday about the
Yeah.
typing session that they did. So
Yeah. Like, I am not as intimidating as you. Like, I seem in text. Like, that's why I say I like to type
I
on voice
might
chat.
have misinterpreted you. That's the issue that I kind of have here. The way that I have interpreted you, and maybe, for instance, Lamb Source has interpreted you, it might be inaccurate to how you actually are as a character, to a point where we both typed you wrong under the basis that you come off differently than you actually are.
That makes sense to me, but how about Bob? Let's give Bob some love over here.
Bob,
Hello
talk.
there, Bob Saget.
Yeah, Bob.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good.
Bob
am I
was
doing?
typed as an ENFP in socionics.
Mm-hmm.
I have very little comment on that.
Oh yeah, I don't think you know her, and you weren't there in the typing, so.
Yeah, no, so I actually don't. I could start a new typing session, but I don't really know where I'd start. Any FI is like the opposite of what I actually know about in socionics. It would be very hard for me to type and somebody who we believe to be IE. It'd be very hard for me to either type that, reaffirm that type, or correct it, because I frankly don't know enough about any FI to actually do that. I think the biggest problem with FI when you try to type it from somebody who has FI polar or bad FI is that you can't really understand what is FI and what isn't FI, because it comes off as a very foreign concept to you.
Mm-hmm.
It comes off as something that is almost in a different plane from what you're perceiving. I don't know if Street Urchin can understand this, but like Street Urchin, you should be FI polar in socionics, okay? Which means oftentimes when you hear somebody do something FI related too involved with ethics, you don't quite understand where they're coming from. It's almost like you don't understand what the ethics are originating from.
Well, I may question why they're bringing up ethics in a conversation, possibly. But where they come from, that, subjectivity.
It's obvious.
So
Fair
there's
enough.
that.
Well, that was actually pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to pick your brain later on.
Pick those brains. Bob, you got questions about socionics, I imagine.
Bob always has questions, isn't that what you say?
Bob always has questions.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Does the
and
chat
forever.
have questions? I actually saw Laser Syrup in chat. Hi, Laser Syrup.
Well, I definitely think you did a lot better job of explaining it than what Ben and I got before.
No disrespect to the person who did explain it to you, but he seems to misunderstand the concept that you don't already understand the theory.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to almost assume that you already understand the building blocks and he just needs to explain the complex stuff to you, when in reality most people don't even understand the building blocks yet, and then he starts hitting you with the complex stuff and it just makes you more confused.
Yeah. That sounds like what happened.
In all fairness, I haven't explained half of the building blocks either, because that would be way too much to explain right now.
Hmm.
That's fine.
Perfectly understandable.
Hi, Spoil.
Oh, Seagoyle.
Hi, Seagoyle.
Yeah.
Hi, Seagoyle.
So Wildman is asking, how valid does Aaron see socionics, and does he use it in a daily life?
How valid do I see it? I feel that for around 70-80% of people, I can accurately type them a socionics type in real life. If I can't type you a certain socionics type, I almost assume to a certain extent that you're some FI user, and I figure it out from there. Then the thing is why I actually do use it in real life, and the reason why I use it in real life is it allows me to very accurately deal with when people present me with FI things. Because, for instance, for me, when I was younger, the idea of internal ethics or somebody imposing those types of internal ethics on me just didn't make a lot of sense. So what I would do is I would perceive their ethics as societal ethics and assume that whatever they're telling me they feel is a direct representative of what everybody feels. And that is just incorrect. And what socionics has taught me, and what it tells me in real life, is how do you deal with somebody? Where is somebody coming from? For instance, somebody like street urchin's almost always going to come at you from a logical consistency perspective. He's going to be like, why did you do this? What was your reasoning for it? And how does this link up with the rest of your plan? Okay? If you have an answer to all of those questions, 99% of the time, street urchin is going to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a protest to that?
I have nothing to say about that. Congruency of thought seems important to me. So
And basically,
it needs to make
I wouldn't have used
sense.
that word myself because I wouldn't have been smart enough to think about the congruency of thought. But basically, for somebody like Street Urchin, if you provide enough congruency of thought for him, he is chill with you.
Yeah.
Or if you're
for
hot.
somebody like Ven, for example, somebody like Ven, whereas I don't really understand the person very well, they're obviously an FI user, okay? If you match up with their personal ethics to a certain degree, they're going to be chill with you. They seem chill as an overall, so as long as you don't kill their cat, they should be fine. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't do something downright scummy, they should be chill.
Honestly, I don't really have any. It takes a lot for me not to be chill with you.
Fair enough.
Like you have to be, a little. The only thing that bothers me about people, what they say all the time, is if they're stupid. Like that's it. Like as long as you're not stupid, we're good.
No, but for
And
instance,
if you're my friend and you're stupid, then I'm not gonna care.
fair
I'll put up. And Rose, to answer your question, Aaron did say that ENTPs and socionics and ENTPs and MBTI were a little bit similar, quite like more similar.
More similar than most types. If you type as ENTP and MBTI, under the condition that you're correctly typed in MBTI, then you're almost always going to be an ILE in socionics. If you're an ENTP and MBTI, you're probably going to be an ENTP in socionics. If you are correctly typed in MBTI.
So did you say that if you're correct, like you're typed correctly in MBTI, it'll be the same as socionics?
Yeah, it will be the same as socionics. Sorry if I didn't convey that correctly.
Okay. Good enough.
But for other types, if you're an ISFP and MBTI, you're not an ESI in socionics. Or not. You might be, but as a generalization, if you type as ISFP and MBTI, you're probably not ESI and socionics. It's just not as generalization,
Okay.
correct? No, it's mainly just for ENTP. Most types have moderate correlation, but ENTP specifically has an almost 100% correlation.
Okay. Which system do you prefer?
MBTI socionics.
Yes. Which one?
Socionics definitely.
Okay.
Because
Why?
they like geek out in socionics. Like in MBTI, they kind of tell you how shit works. In socionics, they're like, do you want to know how to type somebody by how they walk and the size of their hands?
Yeah.
I never would have fucking thought about it, but sure. And they're like, look at the spreadsheet I made about how long your fingers are compared to how much NE you use.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
the fan
fucking
fiction.
crazy, dude.
That's the fan fiction stuff that I was talking about. I'm just like, this reads like bad fan fiction.
It does, but it's crazily funny. It's cool. It's like, wow.
I can't wait
It's
to
like
learn more about it.
An MBTI, it depends on who you're speaking about socionics, because socionics got a lot of different authors, and they're all just as valid as each other, but they have different
What?
perspectives and opinions.
Okay.
Why did you say what so exactly?
Wait, so you're telling me that they have essentially their own systems, but they're all valid?
Yes. There's like 15 different systems, and they're all valid.
Oh my god.
And you can like choose which ones you want to follow. Some people have like gotten together to like form a cooperative system where they all agree. But like there's a bunch of different systems. They don't really shit talk each other about, but they're like, this is my interpretation, and you can follow it or not, but don't hate anybody else. We're chill.
But how can you tell
What's
if it's
the
accurate?
Lampos?
Yeah, so
let's
which one's the accurate one, I guess?
Which one's the accurate one? As a generalization, I would use stock standard Model A socionics.
Okay.
Model A.
Lamsource, for example, he used to use Model G, but nowadays he has philosophy that all of the systems are accurate to a certain degree, and the cover of a book and the pages within it might show different things, but they're all just different representations of the same book. That was the example that he used to me about the different models of socionics.
Wow. See, I was interested, but now that I know that there's like 20 of them, that's an exaggeration, I know.
Not by much, sounds like.
Yeah.
There's only one real one. I say real one. There's only two real ones. Okay? There's one for there's normal socionics, which is Model A, and then you have crazy by socionic standards, which is Model G. Okay? If you thought that shit that you were reading in whatever Wikipedia article that you found that was probably Model A, if you thought that was crazy, Model G is like an extra 50% more crazy. And it's
Spectacular.
it's moderately accurate, but it's mostly just perfection of crazy shit. It's like the creator of Model G is an INTP in MBTI, okay? And the guy, he just went off the rails. He's like, I think this might be correct, and I've done some research to back myself up here, okay? But do be aware, I somewhat don't even believe what I wrote myself.
Remember when I typed you the other day? I was like giving you the benefit of the doubt because you said you thought that you had higher FE. Well, you're not an ESTP.
That's awful.
I don't believe you are. You're just too into socionics and MBTI to be.
I thought he was an ESTP.
You did?
We haven't talked a whole lot, but yeah, I got the impression that he was very comfortable, very respectful in conversation. So that's usually an indicator of higher extroverted feeling.
The only reason why I am doubting it is because of how well versed he is in socionics and MBTI.
I do wonder why you I mean,
now.
but here's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I've met so many ISTPs, for example, and some EST, like Gears, for example. He knew about socionics as well. It seems to me that the sensor types enjoy socionics, but not as much in MBTI.
Huh,
Maybe that's because they go off of physical things they can see,
Maybe.
like their nose and their fingers and stuff.
Yeah, I buy that. What do you think, Ben?
There's a
that
socionics.
would actually make sense because that was the only reason why I'm like maybe you're not an ESTP just because of how well he knows the system. Because like realistically, which ESTP is gonna be spending their time on this? But if we're putting it that way, then yeah, I think there's a high possibility. I'll have to learn about the system more to see exactly what would intrigue a sensor. And then I'll get back to you.
Give it a shot, and then we'll figure out
Yeah.
how it
Also, by the
plays
way,
together.
I was watching your stream. Do they use like little anime goals in the top right to like symbolize the ships in World of Warships?
They use what?
They use anime goals in the top right. Like when you're like playing World of Warships and they show you the British flag in the top right when you're looking at the ship, there's like a little anime goal in the bottom right of the British flag.
Oh, you
Is that
said
to
anime
represent-
girl. I thought you said anime ghoul. And I was like, I don't know.
no.
I don't know about ghouls.
I heard that
Doesn't look too bad. This is a this is a special captain from some things called like Arpeggio of Blue Steel or something. And they have anime characters. So they did kind of like a crossover thing where you can get a captain that's an anime character, but here's the regular captains.
That is like weirdly cool, but like also kind of degenerate at the same time.
A little bit, yeah. Here's
But it's very
regular
funny.
captains look like, people. So
Fair enough.
I just happened to get a
You'll
hold
love
of
it when
one.
the anime goal.
Yeah, this anime one is called, this is the HMS Hood as an anime character.
Oh my god, I can't wait
So.
for the anime goal to get a fucking 152mm high explosive shell just get smacked onto her by fucking Bismarck.
Yay!
Wildman is asking, what type are you in socionics, Aaron?
I self-typed myself, well, I didn't self-type myself. Some woman typed me as SLE like a year or two ago at this point, okay? SLE is the socionics equivalent of ESTP.
Okay.
The most common type that I've got from other people, though, is LSI, which is the socionics equivalent of ISTP.
Okay.
I've also gotten typed by LambSource as ILI. So I try not to.
Why was that wildly?
What? Sorry.
That seems wildly different than the other two.
I don't know. You know what? I don't even try to question it anymore. I'm like good. I think that I personally, in my heart, will always believe that I'm an SLE. I am aware though that I come off as an LSI. Okay, I am aware that when I speak to other people, I definitely come off as an LSI, and I've been most commonly typed LSI. Out of all, the only three types that have been typed are SLE, LSI, and ILI. As a generalization, I think that most socionics typists are a bit fucking crazy, and you shouldn't take them very seriously.
Okay, well, send me to this woman.
Oh god, this woman is gone. This woman was this Arabic fucking woman from Algeria, and now she's gotten married or some shit, and she's no longer in Discord.
Okay.
I say Arabic, but she's from Algeria. Okay.
Cookie Dough is back. Cookie Dough, we were asking you earlier about your experience with the socionics typing that you had with lamb sauce.
I would
And
love
while
to
she
hear about it.
answered Yeah.
I want to type lamb sauce. It could be very entertaining. I think it could be very entertaining.
I think I could get him.
You think you can get them? Well, it won't. We won't do it live. Well,
Oh
schedule
no,
time
of
for
course not. Not
Give a
live,
man a
like
little privacy.
Yes. Although he doesn't like typing in privacy, because I entered a private chat. He was like, "Can you just move to general?" I was like, "Sure." Like, let's make this And then everybody can join, everybody can talk while you're being typed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He enjoys promoting server activity via typings.
Okay.
Makes sense.
One of the
That
See,
makes
with me,
reasons
it's
sense.
how,
kind of hard. Go ahead.
one of the reasons how he justifies the free typings is by creating more interest in the subject by having it an open session.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I see.
I see.
See, for me, when someone is evaluating me at any level, right, I am very good at portraying whatever I think that person is going to have a better perception of, like just sounding very confident, which is what I used to do with psychologists when my mom used to take me when I was younger. So every single time I left the psychologist, I'd be like, "Oh, she's in perfect condition. I've never seen someone that's healthier."
Perfect
So
condition.
it's like I'm just very good at just saying whatever I know is going to sound confident to someone else.
If that was the
So-
objective, you have succeeded very well.
Well, I don't do it on purpose. It's just something natural, which is why I always tell Elif when she's like, "You sound very confident, man." I'm not. Like this is why I want to be an ENTJ. I'm not. Like I'm not like timid or anything. I'm just not like this super confident person. You know, I am confident, just not that crazy of a.
Just
I
not
wish I was
crazy.
more.
She's just Dominican.
wish I-
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Mhm.
Dominican. We're we can just say things, and you know, people typically don't get offended, so we find it normal. Like to us, that's normal.
You know, it kind of makes me want to visit the Dominican Republic. What are my chances of leaving with both my kidneys?
I told you that I can take you, and I promise you'll leave with both of your kidneys. 90% promise.
90% sure of
Fine,
it.
as
Okay.
long as you
That's-
stay away from the Haitian border, you should be fine.
Stay
Right, I
away from the
always tell him,
Haitian
like,
border.
just-
Okay.
I'm not taking him to the Haitian border. Like he should be perfectly fine.
I mean,
Okay.
Dominican Republic's a moderately high-income country. It doesn't have the craziest crime reward. I suppose it has a certain amount, but
And I'm taking him to like a tourist area. I wouldn't take him outside of the tourist area because I don't know. He's just I don't
Mhm.
know. I because his life is in my hands. I wouldn't take him out now. Of course,
His
I don't
life
like
is in my
tourists.
hands.
don't
I
kill poor street
personally-
urchin.
Don't get
when
me
I
killed.
go to DR, yes, I don't go to tourist area when I go to DR, right? But because I'm taking him, I would take him to a tourist area. Same with Mexico. I tell him, let's go to Mexico. He's like, I'm never going to Mexico.
I'm not going to Mexico.
He refuses to go to
It's gonna turn into one of those hostage situations that the U.S. government just ignores because I'm worthless.
It's going to be fine. Trust me. Like,
Camera's gonna get that slight yellow tint.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. Like the city that I grew up in, like everybody knows me. Like nobody's gonna do something to someone that's with me. It's
Mhm.
not
Oh, God.
happening.
And you tell me that you don't have that confident gangster vibes.
Well, yeah, I grew up in a gangster city. Like I don't know what to, like. This is literally where I grew up. You have to be, you know, you can't be just some little beta. I was gonna say
Can't be a
the P word,
punk.
but I'm a beta. Yeah, you can't be a punk, or else you know you have to be self-assured, I guess, in a way.
Confident.
Yes,
Yes.
living in Dominican Republic for 5 years will make any guy an alpha male instantly.
That's possible.
Yeah.
This is the
yeah.
treatment that they need for people.
Yeah, I mean, you don't last very long. You have to know how to speak up. Like, it's valuable over there to speak your mind. If you don't speak your mind, it's a little weird for people. They see you as a fake person, like, if you don't do that.
Oh God.
So to be able to prove,
I'm like
yeah.
80% plastic. So
You are. Like, honestly, like, over there, you would be weird because it will be like, and they won't call it out, too. They'll be like, why are you not saying what you're thinking?
I would ask.
Like,
I would be
we
like,
want
who
people
cares what
Europe.
I'm thinking, huh?
Yeah,
No,
but
I
no,
am with
for
Urchin
them,
on
like,
this
it's
one.
important. So you have to be like genuine. You have to know. You have to show them that for them to be like, okay, I can trust this person. Like they're not just going to randomly be okay with someone that doesn't talk, doesn't show, who they are. Like that's not okay over there.
I see.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta be
honestly
real.
interesting from my perspective in the culture that I grew up in, well, I'm still growing up in, because that's just not normal here. People don't tend to just value expression of opinion for the sake of expression of opinion.
Okay.
I don't think that anybody has a specific issue with you expressing your opinion, but it's not expected that you have to.
Oh yeah, no, that's way different to where I was. Like for example, there was a very also kind of like what Americans or the U.S. people would consider bully culture. Everybody was like on you. It's like you almost grow up as if you were all family, like you're all brothers and sisters, right? So if there's something that you don't like, everybody's gonna do it more to you, right? Especially like in a class. Let's divide it by classrooms, or because typically we divide it by colonies, but to make it easier, we'll divide it in a class. So anybody in your classroom can bully you, can say whatever they want about you. Now this is something that happens all the time. If someone else from another classroom says something about you, the entire classroom, like you would see us like go out and like almost try to fight each other, because you're not allowed to talk about our classmates. Like they belong to our tribe. So that's the mentality that you have in with teachers. And if teachers see that, they're not gonna like put you in trouble. They'll just be like, kids, calm down, go back to your classrooms. They're not even gonna get really involved in it. Same thing with cheating. Like if you're not like giving your homework to others students to cheat off you, like you're not participating in the community.
Really? So they encourage
That is
they
forward.
encourage tribal
Teachers leave
behavior
the-
in the DR.
Yes. No, I grew up in Mexico.
Oh,
Like,
Mexico.
Teachers leave the classrooms. Yeah, teachers leave the classroom so you can cheat.
Interesting.
Yeah, they'll walk out and give you a couple of minutes, and then they'll come back in. So the way that you belong to the tribe is to be like opinion, not confident. Like you have to assert yourself inside the tribe, which is
see.
why when I moved to the U.S., it was so different. It was so weird because I didn't. It was kind of like you kind of have to be meek here, which is not what you have to be over there. Like if you're timid over there, we push you until you get out of that shell to join the tribe. That's how it works.
Wow. It's good to know.
Yeah, so it's very different.
As like a contrast, like South Africa doesn't quite have the individualist culture of America, but it also doesn't have the whole like intentional tribalism that you would have in like Mexico. As a generalization, I think we consider everybody in the entire organization. So if you're in a school, the entire school is your community. The subdivisions within the community of a class do not matter. It doesn't matter which class or grade you're in. The actual community itself is what is prioritized, and you can be an individual within the community as long as you still participate towards community interests at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's a fundamental difference from like American culture. The perception that I've always had of American culture is that there isn't a very strong sense of community at all.
Rose asks, would you say certain socionics types are more common in certain areas, cultures, countries, or MBTI types for that matter?
Can I respond to that, or is that like
Because I know nothing about
usually, yeah.
socionics, so all you.
No, I don't think so. I think that certain areas are more likely to promote certain functions or certain function stackings. So if you grew up in a very SE orientated place and you are an ENFJ or an INFJ, you're more likely to have a lot more developed SE, but you're still an ENFJ and INFJ. I'm using the 4-letter variant because audience. But like, let's say EIE, IEI, okay? just because you live in an area which promotes certain functions more, doesn't mean that the actual type at which you are is going to change much. Not change much. It's not going to change at all. Okay. The type itself, you're almost always going to be the same type. Okay. The area only affects how much you use certain functions and how much you perceive you should act like a certain type.
Okay. Sounding good to me. I hope that answered your question, Rose. When it comes to MBTI, I tell people that wherever there is civilization, there is an abundance of introverted sensing. So here in the United States, for example, it's nearly 50% preferenced introverted sensor. So I mean people that have introverted sensing in the first or second position. So you simply cannot have a functioning society with enough consistency to keep going without a preponderance of introverted sensing preference to people. You must have that to make it work.
Honestly, like, I suppose in America that's true, but I wouldn't say that was true in South Africa and most of the people that I know.
That they're not about tradition, doing things the same way over and over again.
Tradition. I mean, tradition in South Africa is almost South African tradition. Almost is the ability to make a plan or like change things. The idea of holding to tradition itself is, like, to a certain extent, against the tradition. Because even
so the tradition is to do things non-traditionally.
Yeah, effectively. I mean, even the like more traditional people I know make like super big adaptations to continue living what they use it traditionally. So, for instance, like religion is always going to be a part of a tradition that always stays. Okay. But they'll make specific precautions to make sure that they can still do the religion, which might erode other traditions. So the tradition itself won't be protected as long as you can still... The tradition is the ability to maintain your way of life in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how much you change the actual practices of a tradition, or there's no my grandfather did this, my father did this, therefore I must do this. I suppose there is on the forms to a certain extent, but even then they're like, my grandfather did this, my father did this no longer actually works. I'm going to need to adapt, otherwise everything will be in vain. It doesn't matter the tradition of they did it, my grandfather did it, and my father did it. If I cannot survive to tell the tale, then it doesn't matter that they did it to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And the tradition itself is survival. It is just make a plan. As long as you survive, it's fine. As long as you can continue the line, it's fine. As long as you still believe in God, it's fine.
As long as you believe in God, it's fine. A nice way to look at it. Have you found any studies or research that was done to find out, the percentage of types in your population?
No, I haven't. I should at some stage, but that would be an interesting thing.
I once looked it up for Germany, and the one that I found told me that 10% of the German population is ENTP. I was like, that's not accurate. The country would be on fire. Literally.
Shit. There's a wacky amount of South Africans that I know that are NEDOMs. To a certain extent, because... But the thing is, NEDOMs, one thing that I think would be a very obvious trait of them is that they're almost not working correctly. Feels like they've got everything kind of under control, but it's just not quite operating how it should.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my perspective when I see them in real life.
Okay.
So Cookie Dough's here to tell us more about what happened in her typing.
Cookie Dough's in the Discord?
Yeah.
Cookie Dough, how come I didn't hear you come in? That's weird.
Well, that's good, because that means we can't hear it on the stream either.
I may have simply not noticed, but yes. And is she still there? Can I not hear her? No, she's muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's here. She's just muted. So she says she'll be right back. But she was saying how, you know, when she joined, basically she just said hi, and he said typed. Do we even need to proceed?
Wow.
And what did they give you, Cookie Dough?
I think she said she'll be back, but basically he said that he has more questions. So while she is back, Rose said it does seem like both systems are based off nature being influenced by nurture.
I'm sorry, say that
Yeah.
again. It was nature versus nurture. It was one of those.
Nature influenced by nurture.
Interesting. Well, that's usually
Okay, well-
how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little info dump here. Both systems are based off of Carl Jung's philosophical typings. Okay? Carl Jung believed, well, both MBTI and socionics, they're both based off of it. That's the baseline. Carl Jung believed that people are given a personality off birth. Okay? Carl Jung believed that the second you came out of your mother's womb, there was a collective human consciousness that determined your personality. Yeah? That sounds bullshit, but both MBTI and socionics are based off of this principle.
Well,
So
yeah, and I would say that I put stock in the belief that there are some primary cognitive functions that you're going to preference that is based
yes,
on your genetics and how your brain is formed. So
what Carl Jung said is he believed that there was like this genetic pool out of how many of certain types can be given in a certain generation of a society, and that the within this genetic pool, it would like distribute out the types among all the different children. But it was since birth. It wasn't affected by nurture. Like the nurture could affect how you act with those functions, but the functions were given to you at birth, and there's nothing you can do to change them.
mm-hmm.
And like honestly, the first time I read it, it was like flabbergasting. It's like, what the fuck are you on about? And the more I read about it, it's like,
F-bomb.
F-bomb.
am I not allowed to say that?
No,
I-
you're not.
Don't know if you're allowed to say it or not. Like supposedly, like people swear on stream all the time. It's just
Brother, okay,
whether or
just
not we're going to
cool.
be super monetized or anything afterwards. That's it's a different story.
Okay, that's good.
The swear words are most important within the first minute of a stream. If you swear at any point past 30 minutes in, it's practically irrelevant. Within the first 30 minutes, it is not advisory. Within the first minute, you have put yourself in a very bad position.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
That's
well,
four.
Urchin
in the
already
first
put us in a
minute.
bad position, so you can continue.
it was like 5 minutes in. I may have dropped an F-bomb. Maybe, possibly,
Possibly. Hi, Moonglobes.
Moonglobes is here? No.
Yeah,
yes.
she's in the chat.
Wonderful news. Hi, Moonglobes.
Y'all are cutting into my sleep time, so just so you know. Like, I try
As
to
it should
fix my
be.
schedule. Urchin ruins it. Next time, when I'm fixing it, you're staying up with me all night. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Jesus.
let's do it.
Well, that's very interesting, Aaron. Like, I really, I like to listen to you describe, socionics for sure. And I would love to learn a little more, so I'll probably pick your brain, and maybe you can point me to the right resources where I should learn
Thank you.
this stuff.
You can't pick my entire brain. I've got some pieces of everything I need.
Okay, not all of it, just
Not all of it.
85%. You only need...
That extra 15% is gonna do some heavy lifting, considering I only had 5 brain cells to start with.
Mm.
I always say you're from Australia and keep forgetting you're from South America. Africa. Every
Close.
time I'm like, Australia.
It starts with an A. Yep, he's from Venezuela. How is it?
It's not even close at that point.
Yeah, I'd love to be Venezuelan. It would be awesome.
Really?
I can make
Really?
little
I
like,
don't-
baskets out of a currency. Like you have like little Venezuelan dollars, and you start making those little baskets, and like that, you've got a basket made out of all the colorful money.
You
All
don't.
the
They don't
colorful
even
money.
have. They don't even have money to get some money. Like they don't even have ways to get money. How are you gonna make a basket?
Because people just give me the money for free because it's worth so little.
Oh. That makes sense.
I remember when they didn't even have toilet paper, and they
Yeah.
spent thousands and thousands, of pesos to like get toilet paper because there was none. I was like
And there was
20
none.
1920 when this happened. Yeah.
1920.
It was
You
very
said that as if you implied as if it was like a couple years ago, like in recent memory.
Well, it was 10 years ago. Oh damn, I'm just gonna give myself a lot of years. It was 10 years ago, and I felt bad for some of them because they didn't have anything. Like, imagine not having toilet paper. I could, I was way too poor back then, right? And I sometimes I didn't have anything to eat, and I couldn't imagine not having toilet paper. Like it was a lot. Like they struggled.
Yeah.
So
No fairness,
yeah.
toilet paper is pretty cheap.
Yeah, and imagine for them it was way more expensive than most of the food. They could buy food but not buy toilet paper.
You could buy food, but not
Bruh.
toilet paper. That's awful.
Yeah.
Why
Guess
did
you
you
gotta
use
leave.
fruit skin as toilet paper at that point?
Imagine like all the flies and like all insects like just wanting to.
Okay, you know what? Just scratch
Oh.
that idea.
That was not your best idea, just so you know.
That was not my finest hour, as Churchill would say.
Spectacular. Well, I type I type him as an ESTP so far.
Yeah. It makes sense. He
And
sounds like one. I was just confused as to why is he so interested in this. I'm like, this is just too much.
it's just too much. Well, as far as we know, this is the only vaguely abstract topic that he cares about.
Well, it is.
As far
which
as
is
we
why
know.
I typed SE. Like when I did the typing, he was very SETI. Like there was no doubt that he was using those functions. To me, at least, it's just he comes here and he's like so, like into it and passionate about it. I was like, wait, I probably made a mistake here.
Well, anything's possible.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. Bob, are you alive?
Like, probably driving home. Where you?
I'm still alive.
She's just a robot, apparently.
What about Cookie
I
Dough?
mean, it's good to hear that you're alive.
That is good news.
Cookie Dough, I think, is still dead.
Okay. Does anyone have any
yes,
questions? MBTI related questions. Let's go.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you guys want to be typed, you can submit an application. You can DM me as well. Ben, this has been talking, and then we can get you all settled in. But
Just
please
like
submit
that.
the application because if you DM me, I will send you back to the application. But if you have questions, feel free to ask.
Brutal.
Follow the procedures, people.
Follow procedures.
Yes, please.
Let's see here. Did someone say anything about me?
Wildman? Yes, we're always talking about you.
We're always talking mad crap about you behind your back
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. Every day.
That's right. As a Russian ISCP, I just cannot stand that, you know?
Wildman, if you were conscripted to go sit in a T-34 in World War II, what would you do?
A tank?
Yeah, the T-34 tank.
Okay. You said a T-54?
No, T-34. Sorry,
Oh.
my accent is like crucifying me here.
No, I got you. T-34.
Let's see. Rose just typed in a whole bunch of stuff, apparently. A lot of twin studies support
Yeah.
the idea that personality has a lot to do with genetic makeup. I agree. But epigenetics seems to be of the mind that our environment switches on or off our genetic predisposition. So I was curious on where socionics and MBTI would stand on the argument of nature versus nurture, but I think you've already answered that. I am of the belief that, yes, your personality is probably 80% genetic, and then the other 20% could be based on your diet, cultural values, things like that. But that's just me. I don't know what Socionics says about it.
I think socionics just takes what Jung says and pretty much piggybacks with that.
Okay.
There's a
well,
certain societal collective of what everybody will be thinking like. So when you're born, you're given a certain function that you'll be using your entire life. Jung's belief was actually that you don't have a second function off birth. So you would, for instance, for like, let's use you as an example. You were only born with NE, and then you developed for TI later.
How do you think it developed? Just genetically came about?
However,
Or?
I have no idea. Jung never specified beyond that.
Oh, okay.
Like, when I read it, I'm like, I don't really understand where Jung is coming from, but that was his belief, and almost everything else we read here is based off of that, so he must have a point. Honestly, the more interesting part here would be seeing how you would prove that.
Yes. How would you prove that? Yeah, I tell people that I was a mutation. I was the only introverted, thinking, preferenced person in my households. Out of, that would have been a grand total of, at least that would have been until I was 15, roughly 15 and a half. I lived with 6 other people, and I was the only preferenced introverted thinker. So my father and mother, both extroverted thinking and introverted feeling. So just tell them I was a mutation. I was also the oldest. So.
Oh, you're the eldest child.
Say what?
You were the eldest child.
Yes, very much so.
What's your perspective of being the eldest child when you had 3 younger siblings, if
I had, well, in terms of actual siblings from mother and father, that would 2 other ones. And then there were 2 stepchildren involved. And then that was it. It didn't, there was always, of course, a lot of pressure to shepherd the rest, being the oldest in the house of children. A lot of pressure. Anytime they did something wrong, I should have stopped them. I should have been there. I should have done things. So.
I mean, I don't mean to be the guy who comments on that fucking family issues like that, but that's just a bit brain dead.
Yeah. Well, I didn't agree with a lot of the parenting that was going on in that house. So.
Any case, but like, how did you respond to it? Like, not function-wise, but like, how do you perceive that your like personality reacted to the whole shepherding role that was effectively thrusted upon you?
It gave me, I mean, you certainly get a sense of responsibility, which the one that I really only cared about necessarily was my brother, who would have been the second oldest, and he was the only one that I cared to make sure was okay. So I didn't want to be responsible for anyone else, but I didn't mind being responsible for him.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
That's an interesting perspective on it all. I mean, it's not a per se unexpected perspective. It's just, I don't know, eye-opening. It's eye-opening how certain people can have situations and you can expect them to respond with X and they respond with Y.
Yeah.
And Y isn't. Yeah, continue. Sorry, I was.
Being it seemed like it was something that I could do. Yeah, you know, to focus on other people. It just came naturally to me to want to pay attention to those around me rather than pay attention to what I should be doing. Maybe it was just more interesting, possibly.
So, Bob would like to know, she has a question. What is more common, TI or T?
What's more common? Well, someone could probably bring up the stats on that, but it's been my experience.
It's T.
It's what?
It's T.
Yeah, my
Would
experience
be
in life is that extroverted thinking was more prevalent in society then.
Just because of
Introverted
the
thinking.
SIs, because obviously it's not going to be with the ENTJs or INTJs, but ISTJs and ESTJs are going to make up for that.
I think I feel that from the people that I know, it's like a 60-40. Where I think that like 60% of people are like FITE valuing and like 40% are TIFE.
Yeah.
Do you control fucking... Okay, I did it again, sorry. Do you control planes in World of Warships?
Yes, you can. There are some ships that they call hybrids, where they have controllable planes. There's also just straight up aircraft carriers that you can use as well.
You launched like 6 F4U Corsairs off of your plane, just off like a catapult.
Pretty neat, huh?
How did you spawn 6 of them off of like one catapult, though?
Because video game magic, I guess. Let's go with that.
You do not understand how absolutely cool that was just to watch on stream. You just
Remember to
launched
play
4
World of Warships, and I'll give you a what is it, a refer a friend code or something like that. It gets me all kinds of cool stuff.
You just spawn.
And I'll do it again in 20 seconds.
Bro, the stream is like 30 seconds behind to start with, but...
Let's see. Who's got more questions? I'm ready to answer questions. Let's go. And we're still answering questions because Cookie Dough, that's who it was, Cookie Dough, is supposed to tell us about her experience being typed in socionics. Is there any chance I could hit that? No.
Bye, Rose. Have a good day.
Is Rose... my stream is
Goodbye,
not
Mrs.
keeping up, apparently.
Rose.
How do different types deal with depression? Let me go back in time here and try to remember how those different types might have handled it. Let's see. So, I've known ISTPs to turn to substance abuse in some capacity. And that's what I noticed. ISFPs, when they get depressed, I know that some of them tried to write books while they were depressed.
Oh, wow.
I think that what they do can change. People, in terms of their interests and what they value, things like that, it can change so wildly from person to person. So I've known some ISFPs, for example, that will not drink. For example, they refuse to, and then I've known some that just go wild with drinking when they're upset. As an example. You know, how you grow up, where you grow up. A lot of that can be quite important when determining how someone's going to behave. There are some ISTJs that don't drink, and then there are some that love to take a bunch of shots when they go out to party, and then they, you know, puke in the first 45 minutes of the evening, and they want to go home. So I've seen that.
That sounds so unpleasant.
It certainly didn't look pleasant. I would say that. Oh, more
Your
planes.
plane actually, your thing actually just spawns planes.
It does. It has a magic plane factory somewhere in the ship.
It's got gun. It's a battleship.
It is a
It just
battleship.
launches like entire plane squadrons.
That is correct.
It's not even small planes either. It's like 6 actual fighters.
Yeah, these ones are BTD Destroyer. I am not familiar with that aircraft, but...
They used the wrong model for the BTD. That's not a BTD that they're using.
Well... You better send a message to
not-
Wargaming and let them know.
I'm not going to, but it's actually kind of painful that they did call those BTDs.
Drop planes. Good hit, good hit. Very
Actually,
good.
what?
Hot diggity daffodil.
I mean, it's a pretty valid drawing of BTD. Why would they use a remodeled Corsair variant to symbolize BTD?
I don't know. I'm not as into aircrafts as I am into boats,
Fair enough.
so I don't
They're
know as
using
much.
way too small of an aircraft cockpit for the BTD. Fair enough. Why are you into boats?
I always like the idea of having what is essentially a floating home, and that you could take it anywhere. You'll always have home with you.
That's like a weirdly wholesome response.
Just you go out, and you can just set sail. Now, of course, back in like pirate days, you know, with the the sails and the crappy rudders and all that, you could just got onto, if you owned a boat and you had a crew, you could just set sail, go wherever you want, as long as you got the supplies. You could stop at other parts of the world, get more supplies, do some trading, bartering, and you just keep moving forward, and finding new things. It's actually
But you've always got home
quite
right
amazing.
there, even if you've gone somewhere.
Yep.
You can experience new things with home still being there.
Mm-hmm. So you'll always have it, which I thought was pretty cool.
I mean, you and a bunch of friends can sit there singing Wellerman while you're sailing.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, my team.
There's a
God,
question for
boy,
you
dude.
on the chat, Aaron, on the live stream chat
Yep.
from Joseph. That question is for you.
What
Go
are the
ahead.
differences between socionics and gaionics? They seem remarkably similar. There's a couple key differences within the NE-FI functions. Mainly that in gaionics, NE tends to take a more explanatory role, where they tend to be more expressive with the NE instead of just using it as a background function. The FI also actually tends to act more like FE, where the FI finds a very unique role of incorporating their own feelings with the group without creating any social disturbance, despite still being FI, in a way that they can almost like push their own agendas into the group without actually unsettling anybody. It makes for quite a different system, and this shows you how the gay man can assert their emotions quite well without any interference from the other people. It's actually quite genius.
Gayonics has to be a troll name, right?
I assume that was not a serious thing, so...
Yeah, no, it is, but it's just it's funny that it's an actual name.
What? Gaionics.
Yeah.
The study of socionics in certain queer people.
Oh, okay. So it is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny, like that. It sounds like a trolling name.
Like, for example, you've got different ways that socionics might display itself in, like, men and women, okay? And then you've also got gayonics, which explains to you how sexual preferences could potentially tie themselves into socionics. So if you're a guy who acts very femininely or likes other guys, the same as socionics type will not display itself in the same way.
We should get Aurelius to do that.
Who's Aurelius?
Someone in the Discord.
Fair enough.
We can have to see
Also,
if
by the way, I
there's...
made all of that up.
Oh. Sad. Fake news.
No. Unbelievable fake news.
Well, you should create it and then start pushing it onto like the LGBTQ community. And Cookie Dough's still dead? I take it.
Yeah, she's not back yet. Still waiting on her, but Bob is typing.
Okay. Who's got more questions? I tried to answer the how they deal with depression thing, but there's so many ways in which people deal with it. How do I deal with depression? See, I've never known myself to be depressed, but then when you start, reading the symptoms of depression, you have to start thinking, okay, well, I might be depressed. What do I do? I don't think I do anything. Excuse me. I just kind of wallow in it, Still try to, you push through it, and hopefully you find something entertaining enough to pull you out of a depression.
The time that I was depressed, I just laid in my bed like normal.
Yeah,
I just read like.
It's just normal. I still wake up. I,
Mm-hmm.
go to the bathroom, then come back to the desk and do stuff on the computer. And of course, some people take to drinking, for example, when they're depressed, and that's just something I would do normally anyway. So I can't say that. I can't say.
Some people are always crying, very sad. Stuff like that, I guess.
INFPs tend to write when they're depressed, it seems, and they write a lot, constantly. So I get the impression that INFPs are almost always depressed.
I love that conclusion.
Good mood. Like, writing for me, I'm in a good mood. Like, if I'm writing, I'm feeling good.
I could tell from the last thing you wrote that I read.
Oh gosh.
Must have been in a very good mood. A spicy mood.
You are. Oh, Cookie Dough's here.
Oh, Cookie Dough's here? Great.
Yeah.
Cookie Dough.
I cannot talk too much because my throat hurts.
You can't talk too much, but you're supposed to tell us about your story, getting typed.
Okay, my lamp sauce, you mean?
I don't know who typed you, but let's say yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I first said hi, and then he was like, typed, do we even need to proceed? And then one of his first questions was, what about you is worth talking to? And then he asked, like, what do you contribute to society? And then, what exactly do you want to know?
I just want to know how it went. What did he type you as? And,
He typed me as INFP.
As an INFP?
Like, yeah, and he also used, like, other things, like OPS or something. And he was like, she sleep, consume something. I don't know how that works.
You are consume sleep. You are consume sleep, play blast. I would type you the same way. and I would also type you feminine masculine. And in OPS, yes, you're an INFP. I did type you in OPS as well, by the way.
He didn't add you to the registry for some reason. I don't understand why he didn't, though.
I didn't add her to the registry because I don't add people that I type in Urchin's Discord in the registry. I just do it separately without him even knowing.
No. I'm talking about Lamsource didn't add anybody that he typed recently to his registry.
Objective personality.
Do you guys do OPS typings, or is it like
I sure don't.
not you guys? Not you. What's the other one? Ven. You do OPS.
Yeah, I do OPS.
Fair enough. Well, not fair enough. Interesting. Do you like OPS?
I just do it because Adele is part of, like, when I do everybody's typing, they ask for OPS typically, so I'll do them both at the same time. I mean, it's the same thing, MBTI and OPS.
You think until you get hit by the double glass lizard with masculine and feminine FE.
Well, yeah, because, you know, the masculine and feminine does have, we're not going to go into this. Continue, Cookie Dough. I just realized we weren't listening.
We're
to
not
your
getting
story,
into this.
So with masculine stuff, I got typed as like masculine FI, and then feminine NE, masculine SI, and then feminine TE.
Interesting. Huh.
What's
FI,
masculine mean in this context?
I means that you have masculine TI, which I don't necessarily see. Feminine FE NE, which means that you have a feminine SE. No, like you're not. I typed you correctly. He didn't. You are feminine masculine. Feminine.
I'm so confused.
Masculine. Okay, feminine is just more like how do I explain this? Because I there's a particular word and I always forget it. They're just, it's immovable basically. So her NE is immovable. So she's going to be NE no matter what. Like she preferences her NE a lot. And FI means that she's just more feminine with it. Basically that she uses it in a way that's I hate explaining this thing. She used it in a way I don't like doing it because I always forget when I don't do it often. She uses it in a way that's movable. So she can also use TEFE in a fluid way.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not like married to that FI. She's not going to be FI dominant to a point where it's extremely annoying to the people around her. Like her, like being, these are my values, these are my ethics, and this is how it's going to be. For example, me, I am masculine. My first dominant functions. So I'm assertive in both of them, which is very rare. Like not everybody's masculine.
What a man,
is
what a
much
man,
rarer.
what a man, what a mighty, mighty good man.
Yeah. It is the most rare. So women tend to be feminine masculine and men are masculine feminine. Like
Got
for
it.
their functions, typically.
I have actually not heard that. I have heard from another OPS typist that feminine is most common for both genders.
Interesting.
And then masculine feminine is moderately common for men. And then feminine, actually, well, I can't remember. Just take whatever I said beyond that. With a little bit
You are correct. Because with OPS, if it's for example, feeling is feminine. So no matter what you do, feeling is always gonna be feminine. So when I say feminine masculine, I mean it in MBTI. But when you translate it to OPS, that's feminine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? You kind of lost me there, but I'm gonna just assume you're right.
It is extremely weird and dumb. That's all you need to know.
Extremely
Yeah, that's
weird
cool.
and
I'll
dumb.
leave this for next time, but I try to learn OPS.
Yes, it's you just flip it around. Like the feeler is going to be feminine instead of masculine. So yeah, you just flip it.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't make any sense. I thought the same thing.
Oh, it won't always make sense.
I remember, what I remember is that masculine is static and feminine is Not movable. Feminine is dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
In OPS. I'm not up to date with how accurate that actually is, but
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue. I just put the letters that Adele wants me to put, just like I put the spirit animals like you like. So
Those damn spirit animals that I keep hearing about.
he hates it so much when I call it spirit animals. He the other day he gave me like a verbal warning.
A verbal
About how
warning.
So disrespectful of me to continue to call them spirit animals. It disrespects all the theories and the people behind them that they did it, and yada 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 yada. He went on a rant about it. I was like, dude, okay, whatever.
Oh, goodness.
this comes from the same guy who wanted to split the entire theory into 2 pieces because he disliked it that much.
Yes.
Oh. I'm sorry, Adele, but they're spirit animals. Leave that stuff with the INFPs where it belongs. All right.
What?
Men catching strays.
Sorry, Cookie Dough.
That was fun.
But I agree with that. And what else did he give you, Cookie Dough?
He gave me cookies.
Did he? Did he really? Are you lying?
No. What else?
Will this Des Moines move? Find out. He did. God, I still hit him with a Citadel.
I don't know, but I did not like the typing.
Didn't care
Honestly.
for it. What is it about it that you didn't like?
Well, I first got typed by Adele,
Mhm.
and then apparently he does like second typings with lamp sauce like right afterwards. I did not
Oh.
know that, so I was like being put on the spot, and there were all these people, and I was like, what is happening? And he started asking me questions, so and it was
That is
uncomfortable.
BS. By the way.
What?
That is
BS.
BS. He does. First of all, I do all the typings in that Discord. The only reason why I haven't been doing it is because I've been doing less typing, so I have been forcing Adele to do typings. And I didn't see you submit an application, which is why Adele did your typing, because he probably was interested in you. Second, he used you to go to Lamb Sauce because he's been obsessed with Lamb Sauce because Lamb Sauce typed in as an ISCP. It is a lie that he does typing with Lamb Sauce. We do not do that. We're not associated with them in any way. So that's a lie to begin with.
Goodness.
And I would know because I am the director of that Discord.
She is the director.
So I apologize that he fooled you like that. Like I'm gonna have a word with him, but continue.
I don't know if maybe he did not, maybe he just, I don't know. Anyway, what
Don't defend him.
What?
Don't defend him.
Don't you do it.
Maybe I misunderstood him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's just
Possibly.
misunderstood.
Yeah, maybe. So what you were? Yeah, that's what I was telling Urshan. There's a lot of people that join. Anybody can talk, and anybody can be there. They join in, they join out, and it's just like, oh, we're doing a typing. Oh, who are you? What did you do? And it's like, dude, I already answered that question. It's very awkward.
Sorry.
Did you have a lot of people asking you a bunch of questions while you were doing the typing?
No, like, do you mean when I was in Lamb Sauce server?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was only Adele that was like talking and Lamb Sauce and a girl and another guy. So it was kind of chaotic. Yeah.
And you didn't care for it. Was it just confusing? Was that the problem?
Yeah, and also, I don't know, I didn't really like the way they were talking to me. Like, it was kind of, I don't know what it was, but it was uncomfortable.
Okay. So
Also,
compare their
fun,
typing to
also
the typing
uncomfortable.
that I did with you.
Your typing was, Adele, when I was alone with Adele, it was fine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Lamsauce's server. I thought your typing was, like, way more professional.
Whoa, never thought I'd hear that in my life.
Drop street urchin.
Never
It was
thought I'd hear
not,
that.
like, really chaotic. It was, there was some, like, order. That was nice. And what else? It was comfortable.
Great.
Yeah.
That's what we shoot for. Comfortable. Who's got more questions?
Well, I'm happy that my representative here is doing a good job. I will give him a raise.
Who is your representative?
You.
Oh,
You're the one doing the type things as your manager. You know,
got it. Okay.
you represent my company.
I
Yeah.
represent, what's the name of the company?
Urchins Inc. I don't know.
Urchin Inc. Trademarked.
Yeah.
It's mine now, forever. Let's see.
No, thank you for sharing.
Very much thank you for sharing.
It is always good to hear your sweet voice, Cookie Dough.
Goodness no.
Thank you.
So PenCap asked a question for you, Urchin.
Let's see. How do you
How do you
spot an
spot-
ENFJ? Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
How do you spot an ENFJ? So they're very popular people. They get along with virtually everyone. That's usually the first thing you look for. Now, granted, you may end up seeing a lot of ESFJs that also have something similar. They've got a lot of people around them and whatnot. However, with the if you let's say you decided to stalk this person for whatever reason, you'll find that the ENFJ has a wider variety of people that they talk to. They like to network, whereas an ESFJ enjoys having a lot of people around them, but they're all usually in the same culture, like the same upbringing, etc. They like to have cliques, essentially the ESFJs, whereas ENFJs don't really care what your particular values are or whatnot. They just want to get to know you and see if you can be a benefit to them. Or to, maybe you come from a background of rich people and therefore they want to get to know you a little better, kind of a thing. So they're very career driven typically. However, ENFJs usually enjoy getting into professions that involve a more personal touch with things. I've known there's a number of them that for some reason wanted to be they wanted to get into criminal law. Don't know exactly why. They of course are not going to give you particularly good answers, but they wanted to get into criminal law, criminal justice, for some reason. Also, some of them want to get into government positions as well. Working for, let's say, the FBI, things like that. So, how you spot them is I call it it's the succubus personality, and they are typically highly seductive because they seemingly have a cognitive function preference that allows them to really be able to connect with a variety of people. They do have somewhat of a preference for extroverted intuition, not just the introverted intuition, so it's easy for them to talk with people about the abstract. Just the same, it's comfortable for them to also be into physical fitness care about physical appearances, things like that. So they can also appeal to those people as well. Quite an impressive suite of cognitive function preferences. They just know you. The last ENFJ that I met in person, she loved watching Adult Swim, for example, which is cartoon, a cartoon block on Cartoon Network, and she knew things that I was into somehow, and even to this day, I swear, she just was able to pick up on things that I might have been interested in and just went with it and somehow knew what I was interested in without me having to tell her. So, very impressive. And yes, the most likely time you're going to meet an ENFJ is in school, whether that junior high, high school, and then college, because after that, their life is kind of planned out, and unless you are going to be helping them achieve their goals, they don't need you around, or they don't need to associate with you. So there's that. What's an ENFJ like in socionics, Aaron?
Either the smartest person you've ever met, or absolutely crazy. Usually a mix of both.
There you go.
Like, they can either be like borderline omniscient, omnipotent from your perspective, where you feel like this person is smart, this person is socially adept, this person knows what they're doing, this person knows where they're going, this person is able to foresee things, this person can move a group, this person can speak well, this person has decent logic, this person can plan well. And then they go to their next mood, which is everything is down the drain, the dumpster is on fire, what on earth is going on?
Goodness.
It's almost never in between with an ENFJ and socionics.
Maybe all of them are on drugs.
It feels like that from a bystander's perspective, truly.
So there's that.
They'll come off, well, being oddly pessimistic / realistic here, but from like a very positive perspective, ENFJs and socionics are almost seen as natural geniuses. They're like very naturally gifted, unbelievably talented at almost everything they're ever going to do, but they lack the consistency and the own care of their own well-being mentally, and they have very poor logical consistency. So they go from being absolutely one of the best people you've ever met, the most efficient, the most awesome, the most crazy, most cool, to how on earth does this person live their day-to-day life in a even normal manner at all?
That does sound pretty wild. Reminds me of Ven.
Hey, makes sense.
I was expecting something a little more retaliatory, but it's fine.
I was gonna say it's the Dominican in me, but I've used that excuse too much today.
Too much.
I was just gonna go with it.
And Cookie Dough is just too sweet because she's from the Netherlands.
I was literally putting on a Dutch patriotic song in the background while you said that.
Perfect.
The timing of a random... Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
The timing of a random Dutch screaming when he said, "Oh, she's sweet because she's from the Netherlands," was perfect.
And I guess she's dead. I can't hear her, so...
Yeah, she's muted.
Hi.
How's it going, Cookie Dough?
Good.
Great. That's wonderful news. Ask me a question about MBTI. Look, I only do MBTI, okay? I don't put any stock in currently in Enneagram or any of the other ones. So it has to be MBTI related. But yes, ask a question.
Ask him whatever you want to ask him.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so when you feel guilty for potentially hurting someone's feelings, is that FI?
Feeling guilty? Well, just feeling is, it's coming from a place of introverted feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, how often do I feel guilty about things? Guilt is not something I experience very often.
Mm.
I have experienced guilt, I think, but it doesn't happen all that often.
I don't really understand guilt as a concept.
No,
Like,
feeling bad about doing something or not doing something that you feel you should have, right? I mean, that's more or less guilt.
I mean, like, thing is, half the time, like, I'll go at it and I'm like, that decision was admittedly awful in hindsight, but it made enough sense to me at the time, so it's like, the past is the past at this point, like, I can't do anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, guilt is implied to be, like, this moral reaction to your own actions.
Right. So yeah, guilt is just not something that I experience all that often. Is all.
Yeah, I don't. I live by a no regrets motto. I actually wanted to get it tattooed when I was younger. I was like, I'm gonna tattoo it, and you guys can imagine where the tattoo was gonna be. A risque place.
Risque.
But obviously, I thought it. I thought it through. I was not gonna do that.
Ain't got time for it.
But if I would have I wish I let more with like a sensory feeling, because I would have definitely got it done.
So yeah, I hope that answers some questions on guilt. But I don't try to intentionally screw people over. For example, I don't want to do that. I do understand a sense of fairness. So maybe that's why I don't experience guilt as much, because I don't often do things that were just unjustified. For example. But maybe that's just me. I'm also evil, apparently. So.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
I'm probably maybe a little further along on the evil axis than maybe some others. I've been called Satan by 5 different people that had no association with each other. Like, actually, and they're like, "No, you're actually Satan." And I'm like, "Really? What is it about me?"
Erkin keeps saying these things, but this wasn't his gigolo phase. So anything he did during that phase doesn't count. Okay.
What is gigolo?
Do you guys remember we were talking about earlier that Bags was saying, and we were like, no, that's not the same because they don't get paid? Well, that's a male paid. That's what it is.
Okay, you know what? Thank you. That is beyond my current age range. Thank you.
You swear a lot for a youngster. My goodness.
The times have changed, old man.
Times have changed.
I don't mind him for a youngster. He's only 17 and I don't mind him.
By the way, you've gotten that wrong a couple of times. I'm 16, but any guess?
Oh, yeah, there we go. It's like, look, I call you Australian and 17. We're gonna have to
go with that for now.
At some stage, somebody thought I was a 24-year-old Irishman.
Oh,
You sound like that. For sure. You don't sound very young.
I didn't know that he was underage.
Yes, I said several times, 17.
Oh yeah, because
Which
I
is
listen.
16. Yeah, that's true. Because-
More fairness, I even told you directly like 2 or 3 times.
yeah. And before we joined, I said he's a 17-year-old ESTP, ISTP. That's what I said.
Got it.
Richard,
Yes, ma'am.
if I told someone that you typing me felt uncomfortable and chaotic, did you feel something?
Confusion.
It would probably just be confusion. So is confusion a feeling, or is that a more of a logical state of mind?
Mm,
I don't think confusion requires emotion, but maybe? I don't know.
okay.
He'll be like, I don't know. I don't think it was. And then he'll be like, oh, damn, that bolt. I almost hit it. Like that. You know, that's how he reacts typically to anything.
No, I'm asking you because I just said those things about the typing of lamp sauce.
Mm.
He's an ENTP, so I'm
Oh,
trying to.
yeah,
like,
he's not an ENTP.
He's
so
not an ENTP.
He's not an
Yeah.
ENTP. He just wants
Also,
to believe that
several
he is.
people have told him that so many times, but I doubt he really cares because
No,
it
he
happens
doesn't.
very
He's
quickly.
not going to care. He believes what he wants to believe, and it's fine. I'm 10 years into the MBTI game. You're not gonna, I'm certainly not gonna argue with you about it. I've been doing that for 10 years.
He knows things, dude.
Yeah. You want to believe you're something that you're not, perfectly fine. It's just there's going to be a lot of inconsistency there and things that don't make sense.
Yeah, well, I just want to be something that's not related to people that are crying all the time. That's it. That's all I ask for. Give me anything else.
In relation
Give
to
me
the ISFP,
Huh?
in relation to the ISFP thing.
Oh no, I was talking about ENFP.
Oh, okay.
No,
Only
the
if I...
What is wrong with crying?
What's wrong with
Well,
crying?
What's wrong with crying?
I don't think it's anything is wrong with crying. I just think that I have worked extremely hard and always keeping when it comes to like when things hit the fan. I've always been someone that values how composed I can stay when it comes to personal things like in my actual life, not Discord by the way, that doesn't count. It doesn't matter what is thrown at me, I can always like just breeze through it and have no issues. So I value that in myself, being able to do that and just be okay with it. And
Why is crying an issue?
huh?
Why is crying an issue?
Well, because then my head hurts. And
The head hurting part is valid, honestly.
my head hurts if I cry, right? And but no, typically because I don't see where the productive side is going. And again, I don't mean that it's bad for other people. I just don't want it to be part of who I am. That's it, because it's not part of who I am. So I find it hard to associate with people like that. It's like, for example, if they tell you, oh hey, Cookie Dough, you belong to this group that's very fake. Like you would probably have some conflicting information knowing how you are and seeing how like those people act to things that you might not fit in. right? So that's for me more where it's at. It's not that I care if someone cries. I mean, people cry all the time, especially my friends. So don't worry about it. It's just I don't, because I don't see myself fitting in. I have a very hard time trying to, get into the whole shebang of the type. That's what it is. It's like if someone told me I was an ISTP, I would be like, "There's no way I'm an INFP at that point." Like, just I can be an INFP, an ENFP, an ENTP, an INTP. Do not tell me I'm an ISTP or an ISFP. Like, just don't
Do
tell me
not.
I would be, yeah, it would be extremely weird to me. But no, I don't have an issue with crying. I just can't relate to it.
Mm.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah.
The annular eclipse. Supposedly my town is they're supposed to have some kind of like parade about the eclipse, and I'm like, well, unless the eclipse is going to give me superpowers, I'm not as interested. I saw them when I was younger. I'm good. Vonda in Wonderland says confusion is an emotion. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about it, and okay, so someone tells you that truly, in fact, 2 + 2 = 22.
I had an argument with my friend about this quite recently. It was 2 or 3 days ago. And I'm like, confusion is like a secondary state beyond emotions. Like, it's more of a lack of emotions. It's like there's nothing that I can say towards you here because I just don't understand what you're trying to convey. I might get angry about the fact that I'm getting confused. I might get sad about the fact that I'm not intellectually capable of understanding what you're trying to convey. But confusion itself is not an emotion. It's just a state of lack of understanding.
Yeah, I'm not sure that confusion is emotion driven.
Yeah, I don't see
Personally.
confusion emotion either. I mean, we could make an argument that they both might stem from the same place in our brains, but I don't know that either. I'll have to look into it. This limbic system, let's see.
The limbic system.
Yeah, Wildman. I understand what you mean about people crying in situations where it's not needed, but I'd rather have a friend of mine cry than him doing something absolutely lunatic wise, something that a lunatic would do just because he hasn't gotten his emotions out, and then he just randomly does something stupid because he's now repressed everything. I'd much rather have to deal with a guy crying than him shooting up a school. You understand? You trade two things for each other, and I'd much rather have you.
I mean, typically, if you're shooting up a school, it's because you're crying.
What? Try that again, please. If you would be so kind.
I know what you mean. Wait, what did you say, Urchin?
Nothing.
I think crying is only annoying if you're not responsible with your feelings. If you start blaming everyone for how you're feeling or expecting people to do something for you when you're feeling a certain way. I think if you take responsibility for how you're feeling, then it's not annoying. Yeah.
That is correct.
That is,
for example,
that is new. I don't often hear people say that they need to take responsibility for their emotions. That's not something I hear very often. I'm impressed.
It's something that we discuss a lot in your Discord, actually.
Oh.
Yes, I'm always telling these people to do that.
Wildman, that is a sufficiently L-tech. You'd rather deal with a psychopath than somebody who cries.
Yes. I'm just kidding. No. Here's the thing.
What if it's a psychopath that cries?
Then they're not. I mean, if a psychopath is crying, it's because they're faking it, and they're trying to elicit some emotion from you.
We're just cutting
Here's
onions.
the thing. This is the reality of things. Like I say things that I don't mean all the time. For example, if someone is crying, right, or a psychopath, and they're next to me, they're not bothering me. They're not doing anything to me. I don't care. Cry me a river. Let me just continue to read my book. I'm gonna tune them out so quick. It's not even gonna bother me.
Oh,
Because I'm gonna be in my world.
of course.
I zone out very fast, so it's all good.
I think that crying is fine in certain situations. I will say that when I feel that there is an adult male crying, it feels very out of place. It feels a bit threatening, and I feel that whatever comes next is going to be horrific. Like, whenever I actually see an adult male start crying, I'm convinced that he's about to try and bash somebody's head in.
Kind of like a Cain and
Do you
Abel
see
thing.
what I mean? See what I mean? When I mean that they're ready to do some shooting. That's what I mean. Like if you see them crying, you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, but you'd rather have them cry when it's not needed than have them spend 5 years not crying, randomly start crying because they've had enough, and then they just go insane.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying I can see how those two go hand in hand.
Yeah, okay, I understand, man.
Yeah.
These ships in World of Warships have like the craziest firing angles in which their guns work.
Yeah. Yay, video games. Let's see. Kiwi says hello. Hi, Kiwi.
Hi, Cowie.
It's Kiwi.
Hello there, Kiwi.
Okay, so it was Friday the 13th today. We should have watched a Jason Voorhees movie, guys. Like,
Well, we
that's
can't
what
watch it
should've-
on stream.
No, I know that.
You can't do that. That's how you get
Oh my
copyright strikes. Like, that's how you get those. So. Which, by the way, when I played Vampire the Masquerade, it got a copyright claim.
Wow.
Because of a song in the game.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, no more Vampire the Masquerade on stream, by the way. We can't do that anymore.
That game is so like uniquely good for some
I
random game
agree.
that like almost nobody plays.
It's I think it's a great game, and I can't wait for number 2 when it comes out in like 2035 or something.
They're making a sequel.
Yeah. I've been keeping up with it, trying to.
You know what the thing is with Vampire Masquerade? They mastered certain aspects of the gameplay, and then somehow like forgot the part where they need to get enough people to play it to make it like fun for long periods of time.
Well, you know, you can. There's some replayability there. You know, not everybody wants to play all the different vampire types, but there is some there. I first played a Bruja, and this when I was obviously much younger, and I didn't understand the game mechanics at all. So I just played the Bruja and just beat everyone up. You know, like that was the whole point of the character. But after that, I played the Ventru and then the Tremere. Now I just play Tremere. But we're talking about crying. Yes, Kiwi is a professional crybaby, by the way. That is something that she does very well.
I just like food.
And I imagine that Cookie Dough also has some skill in crying.
Man, if you ever see me crying, it's because I am also about to try and bash somebody's head in. Like, it's not a state of random occurrence. It's a state of something's about to happen that is very bad, and you should probably stay away.
Stay away, stay away.
It's like, for instance, it's almost always when you've got a large guy who's crying, it's not because it was something minor, it's because they think that they are at threat, and they think that they have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. It does seem rather. I mean, definitely, if a man's crying, then typically something's wrong. Usually very wrong.
It's not just like, oh, that sad moment. That's like, oh shit, something really bad happened.
I just don't understand. Like I'm just more confused than anything when someone is crying.
You're confused?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because I don't like I want to. I know why you're crying, right? Because obviously something happened, which would then logically then that from what I've seen from other people, it will elicit an emotion that would make you cry. I just don't understand it because I've never felt it. So to me, it's confusing, right? It's like just because this happened, this person is crying, which I know happens to other people. But how can I help them because I don't know what this feels like, and it's just confusing to me. Like I want to help, and then I wish I had felt it before so that I could help you, but I can't. I don't know. Like I don't know how. It's confusing, and it also it's like, why every single time, although I know it happens, to me it's like, why would they feel this way? Like there's so many other ways that they could have done this. Why are they crying? Like it's confusing. Yeah.
That answers that. It's confusing.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh, and by
have
the
you ever
way,
cried before?
I mean, yes, I've cried. I'm trying to
Ben's
think
never
of a
cried
time
in her
that
life. Not even once.
I have. I cry with books and like movies.
Okay.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. The other day I cried. Well, when I was under the influence a little, because I was like, I miss a friend, and the reason why I cried that I miss him is because I was trying to be dramatic. So this is what I used to do with him, right? I would be like, I need to write a scene today. I need you to start a fight with me, or today I need you to like tell me things to make me sad, or so that I could get inspiration. So then we would have like a fight, which wasn't a real fight. Like it was obviously controlled. And then when I was done with, and I was like, okay, I think I got the mood for the scene. I'd be like, I'm done, thank you, and then we would move on. Okay, so I miss having that person so that I could just go and do things like that. So I tend to like create a story in my head. Basically, like maybe I'm homeless, and so that I can get into the mood of like whatever I think it's like an extreme emotion, so I can write.
Okay.
So that's what I do. Like I'll create like a crazy scene, and like hopefully cry, and that's where I go with it.
Hopefully cry. No. Kiwi, how's it
Oh,
going?
by the way, oh sorry.
Hi,
Mhm.
it's me, Cowie the Kiwi.
It's just Kiwi. What's up, Cookie
At
Dough?
least Ben tried.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, why is crying always associated with like negative feelings?
I think it's a worst case scenario kind of thought. Like when someone's crying, it's best to just assume that they're crying for a negative reason or what you might think they would consider to be negative. So that, and therefore you kind of have these responses to be maybe more understanding, caring, etc. More sensitive to their plight, whatever it may be. So it's just, I think it's as a default, that's a safe way to look at it if you're trying to maintain social cohesion. Just assume that it's bad. And of course, not all crying is bad. Some people, when football fans, when their team wins the Super Bowl, they cry. And then, of course, the players sometimes cry because it's extreme levels of joy and it catharsis, really. And then that causes, tears to come out sometimes.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't necessarily associate crying with like people being sad all the time. But like if you're happy and crying, that's even more confusing.
no.
It's even more confusing.
I feel like, of course, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like at some level, any emotion can end up in tears. Like you're very, very happy, tears. You're very, very
Howie,
sad.
you're a professional crier.
You're super, super angry. Tears.
You have a master's degree in crying. Like,
Dude, I have like 54 PhDs. I went to Harvard for my.
oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's healthy from what I've heard. And from what I've noticed, like once someone cries, they let it all out, as they say. They seem to be more calm. So it does help, especially because it releases some hormones that help your body relax, right? That's really what it does. The problem that comes with crying when I used to be on hormones is that you have a headache afterwards. Apparently this doesn't happen to a lot of people, but for me, I shed a tear and I need like a gallon of water after.
That's weird.
Like,
Yeah.
you feel dehydrated.
Same for me.
Yeah, some of us are not that lucky. We can't just be crying.
I mean, sometimes
can't just be
a lot of the
crying.
a lot of times when I do cry, I end up crying like a lot and multiple times. Like, if something bad happens, I'll keep thinking back to it. Like, because my emotions can flip very fast. I can sometimes, like, I'm very quick to cry and get that feeling over with. Sure, it will still stay with me and I might still be very moody throughout the entire day, but it's not like I can't do normal things like
cry.
enjoy stuff. Yeah. No, but like like later that day, like, okay, 3-4 hours later, I'll be thinking back to it and then I'll start thinking in like a downward spiral and I'll start crying about it again. And it's like the same thing with positive feelings too. Like, if something really good happens, I'll keep thinking back to it and I'll be like, that is so good. I am so happy. And then I just start crying again.
Goodness.
I don't know.
She just...
Yeah.
It's so...
Like, I'll just all of a sudden think back to it, like, oh, I'm in the shower, like, oh, I just found out, oh, my grandpa adopted a kitten. And I'm like, oh, that's so good for him. I'm so happy when I find out. I'm like, that is so nice. And then I cry about it. And then, like, hours later, like, in the evening, like, I've already cried, some sprinkle of tears throughout the day, And then... And then I hop into the shower, and then all of a sudden it hits me. I'm like, he has a kitten now. That is so cute. Oh, and then I start crying about it.
And then the tears.
Always the tears. And it's the same thing with like movies. Like, for example, like usually I'll watch like honestly anything can make me cry, but if I watch like a good movie with like good story and I'm like, okay, and now it's sad, it's really sad, and it's really sad up until the very moment where it's like, oh, we're all saved, and so it starts with a really, really sad cry. I'm like, please don't die, and then it gets resolved and then the happy ending music plays and everybody's happy and I'm like, I'm so happy for them. It like goes from like a sad cry to a happy cry and it just, yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah.
See, for anybody that doesn't know, Cowie is the one that joined, or AKA Kiwi, as Urchin likes to call her.
Her name's Kiwi.
She
No.
she believes she's an INFP. We haven't typed her, but INFP still could be accurate.
It could be accurate. We don't know.
I believe it is, but we haven't typed, so.
Yeah, true. We'll have to do that one of these days.
Yeah. No. Wildman is gonna go to sleep.
Good night,
Good
Wild
night, Mr.
Man.
Wildman.
Night.
It was nice seeing you type out stuff. Just when the party's about to start.
Wildman is always in the.
I brought some. Fudge cakes.
Yeah.
Because I've never personally cried for positive reasons. Like, I didn't actually realize you could cry for positive reasons.
Really?
Yep. In case anyone's wondering, he is in fact a robot. He passes the Turing test and everything.
Oh, really?
So is Ven. So
Mhm. Okay. You know what?
What?
you're
I'm definitely not a robot.
definitely a robot. That's exactly what a
I'm an
robot
emo-
would say, or
I'm an
something.
emotional being for reals. Reals.
You know how
For
ironic
reals.
it is for you of all people to just call me a robot?
I don't. Tell
Right?
me. How ironic is it?
I don't know.
Have you ever like seen your own emotional range of display?
Right. Right. This is why I cannot, in good conscience, say he's charismatic. I'm always like, he's charming. I'm like, he's very charming, I guess.
Very
I'm charming.
well spoken.
Yes, yes.
I'm glad you think so.
I like how he describes things and his rationale on most things as well, which is why I find him so fascinating.
Hey, I'm
Logical
fascinating. You hear that?
consistency.
Mm-hmm.
He's fascinating, if you can tell.
I'm
Yes.
fascinating. And I'm hilarious.
Here's the thing: making me laugh is nothing. I laugh at everything, so.
Okay,
It's like
so
when me and Vin
see,
watched
this is
The
where
Princess Bride.
she has to knock me down a peg. Anytime someone says anything positive about me, she has to switch it up.
Or mid.
Mid. You're mid. Street urchin, you're mid.
Brother, just
Thanks,
remind
Van.
yourself that the negativity had to be added because you were too good.
Too
You
good.
have to remind you of the 10% where you're bad because the 90% where you're awesome just shines the entire time.
Why is that really kind?
I'm really kind.
Just because the
That's
truth
good.
is nice to you doesn't mean that it's not the truth.
I agree.
It's the
But also,
truth.
just because you're right doesn't mean you're right. You know?
Well,
Just because
thankfully
you're
I'm
a
always
realist
right.
doesn't
So.
mean that you have to be a pessimist.
No one's always right.
I'm always right.
Only-
See, that's because you haven't met
only
me,
in your
but,
own
until
way.
now.
I am right more often than anybody else is right, and I'm almost never wrong. And when I am wrong, it's because I forgot about something, not because my logic was bad.
Do you realize that I believe that Urchin believes that, and I don't know. It's not something that may be accurate at this point.
What's not accurate?
That he's always right,
Hmm.
and that Urchin is always right, and that
I'm
I'm
always right.
always right. Everybody, we all believe that, though. That's the thing.
I don't.
No, you've just found a bunch of egoists and put them in one room together. It's not everybody who believes that.
Of course, I meant like
He might be
us
onto
three. I
something.
meant the that I mentioned. I didn't mean Cookie Dough and Cowie because I know they don't. I meant like the three that I mentioned. So we all meant
yeah.
the three that I mentioned.
We're out here musketeering.
Yeah, we're the musketeers. Oh, can I
Oh.
be assholes? Because
Yeah, but
don't
me
get
and
Urchin
Cookie
on the
Dough out here
musketeers.
being
Urchin has to finish season one.
fearsome too.
There's a television show called, well, I don't know if it's a television show. It's on
Yeah, it is. The
Amazon or
Musketeers.
something. It's somewhere, and it's called The Musketeers. And I learned a lot about French culture through The Musketeers, and I'm taking everything that happens in that show as fact, and that is just how the French behaved in whatever time that was.
I
Yeah,
have no
that's
idea what you're
what-
referring to, but the levels of irony in which you are saying this is concerning. Why are there 4 of them in all of the trailers?
I don't want to spoil anything, but in the first episode,
One of
D'Artagnan,
them dies.
his father dies, and his father says, "I was was it Athos? Was it?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
claims that Athos, a musketeer, shot him. He said that just before he died. The guy that his father was referring to was a man that like came into the was it a tavern or something, an inn, what have you, with a mask on, wearing some vague musketeer looking uniform, with a mask on, mind you. and a hat. So you could only really see the eyes. And the guy walks in and says, "I am Athos of the Musketeers." Bang.
Okay, you know what? Very intelligent.
So,
but let's be real.
but
This was in like the 1600s, right?
Yeah.
sure.
And the book was written in the 1800s.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, it kind of pans out for that era, right? Like,
Oh,
people
you
were-
I don't
mean
think
people
that
didn't know
pans.
what an assassination was in the 16th century. Or you're saying they just couldn't conceive it?
Yeah, and apparently they couldn't
Yeah,
conceive that there was, people might lie to cover up things either. They apparently couldn't figure that
You
one
mean
out.
I might be lying about who I am while I'm killing you?
Could be lying.
Okay, so this is how I see it. Okay, if someone went in like into I don't know, like a bodega in DR, or maybe like in like, you know, in the Heights in New York, and you know, and they said that, I believe that my people, or any Hispanic people, or maybe, you know, a black person would believe it. That's the thing. Like, if we go to those areas, right? And this was in a poor area, I can see them believing it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. But just a reminder, with your secondary thing about the whole 18th century thing, just a reminder, the #1 policy of German diplomacy before World War One is how much can we annoy people before they make themselves the bad guys? They were not stupid in their diplomacy. Like, they understood how to create a narrative in which the other person was the bad guy.
You said the Germans?
The
Yeah, the
Germans.
Germans.
The Germans.
Okay.
Before World War One, what one of their chancellors, what they intentionally did was they saw how much could we annoy all of our neighbors until they declared war on us, and we get to pretend like we're the ones that were right.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's what I do.
How much can I annoy somebody before they make an irrational decision, and then I can hit them over the head with no consequences?
Mm-hmm.
And not only did D'Artagnan believe it, D'Artagnan didn't even bother asking what he looked like.
Oh my god.
Just straight up bought it, and I was like, okay, well, just saying your old man, dad may have been mistaken, and that did not cross his mind that his father was at all confused or mistaken or heard him wrong. Nothing did not occur to him. And so he travels to Paris with the sole intent of killing a man that his father claimed shot him.
Why does this look like Assassin's Creed without the assassins?
Could have been. So now I can make a lot of assumptions about the French.
Good job.
Thanks to the Musketeers television show.
Fun fact, the French monarchy supported the Protestants in the 30 Years' War, despite being fervent Catholics.
Oh. I'm sure there was a good reason for that as well.
It's because they hated their cousins.
Oh. I like my cousins as far as I know.
Fair enough. Apparently European monarchs don't like their cousins when they believe that their cousins have more rich land than they do.
Oh. So jealousy then.
It's a mix of jealousy and just pure pettiness. How many peasants can I throw at this guy and get them all killed before he realizes that I don't like him?
Let's see, do we have any more questions in the... Nope, I guess we don't. What about kiwi or cookie dough? Questions, MBTI related? Bob's not here, otherwise she would be talking my ear off about questions.
Do you have any questions, Cookie Dough?
No.
Okay, no questions at all. Then, Aaron.
We are
Yeah.
good. I don't have a question, but I will say, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and submit your application for typing. It is only $20, and Urshan is like a therapy for an hour. Okay.
Unlike therapy
Man, it's
for an hour.
amazing. $20 is like $20 an hour is like crazy good rates from this community, dude.
I've heard
is.
I've heard some horror
Quality over
stories.
typing.
I heard that
Brother-
C.S. Joseph charged like $150 for 15 minutes.
That is awful. Okay,
I was
most
like, that's
socionics
pretty wild.
typers do $100 for 40 minutes. $100 for 40 minutes. Another one was around $30 for 40 minutes. The standard in socionics community is 40 minutes.
Okay.
But it's funny. The guy who charges $100 for 40 minutes told all of his competitors, "Have fun." What was it? Have fun charging for your service. Just a reminder, you'll have to undercut me the entire time.
Impressive. Which type is more likely to have a need to be useful? ISFPs love being useful, of course. INFP. A lot of introverted feelers enjoy being useful or believe they have a need for it. I think ISFJs, I don't necessarily believe that they feel a need to be useful, but they do believe that they need to have a place and to fulfill whatever that role entails. So maybe they don't really need to be useful to a whole lot of people because that's not their job or that's not their place in society. And so they'd be okay with it. But in many cases, yes, ISFJs are often needed, seen as. So there's
I was
that.
going to say ENFPs, but then I thought, well, ISFJs are the only ones that are just cannot say no to like their family and friends, so what with them.
Oh, I missed the Goliath. Dun, 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 dun. HMS Goliath.
Well, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today. This was very interesting to talk about socionics, and we
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
I cannot hear you.
What?
Oh, well,
I can hear her.
he's deafened.
Oh, okay. Can we make it to over 100,000 damage at the end of this match? Can we do it? We're gonna try.
You do it, sister.
We're
You
gonna
go.
try, because unfortunately the other two
Do
enemies are way over there, and the match is about to, as soon as this battleship blows up, game's over. Yeah.
I
90,000.
believe in you.
90,000. We got close.
Oh.
We got close. Let's see, how
Out
long
of
has this stream been going on for? The stream's been going on for 3 hours and 17 minutes.
I
Not
was
too bad.
about to ask, when do these things actually end? Is this like infinite or?
We usually go on
Never.
for about 4 hours just to do that, but it seems like it's maybe not that necessary to go on for that long.
And I would have like died if I did this more than like 2 days a month. I'd actually just explode.
I'm kind of
I
thinking
agree.
like I would do it just about every day, but I don't want I don't want people to feel like they've missed out on a stream by doing it every day, because not everyone's going to be available every day. So and this Friday was not. We've had some people in here. Not too many though. But we've always got PenCap. Thank you, PenCap, for your dedication to the
Who
channel.
are you? We need to know. Like, where are you in the Discord?
I was also a bit confused about that one.
And Cookie Dough is also very regularly in the chat. Today she was in
She's a
voice chat. And Kiwi has been around, kind of. It's the problem
Been
when
in the
you're
chat, like twice.
doing streams with people that live on the other side of the planet. Times don't always sync up.
Yeah, I mean, last time I joined and I didn't even know you were streaming. That was embarrassing.
Embarrassing. And like, it was like
And then
5 F-bombs in 30 seconds, you know? Like, as soon
I
as
mean,
it gets in.
well, I do not believe in the concept of blaming it on the alcohol, so I will take full responsibility, and I'm really sorry.
Hey,
This is-
don't. He's making you feel bad, but he was the one that started it all. Like,
It was me!
we were
It was me all along.
So it was him.
How was it him?
Because he said it first. Like, the streaming was just started and he just threw it out there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I set the stage, apparently.
okay,
PenCap
well,
said,
I didn't know
here's a
that,
hint
so.
for who I am. My head hurts.
Oh,
Me, right now.
Whose head
see why
hurts?
you're
A
always
lot of
looking.
people head hurts.
I think
No,
his
his
name
name
in the
is
Discord
Headache.
is I always have a headache or something.
Oh, the
Yeah.
guy who always has headaches. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the guy with the Toradora profile picture.
So we figured out who that was, apparently. I think. I mean, it
Well,
could be
like I
lying, so.
I think I might have a
Oh my
migraine.
god,
actually.
deception. It's like the guy who walks in.
You have a
kills the guy's
migraine?
father and then lies.
Yeah, it's really bad. I can't fall asleep until it's gone.
That is
Yeah,
not how
I woke
sleeping
up into
works.
chemicals.
For me,
It is actually.
that's
You're gonna
not
need
I
right.
sleep-
to.
This is what I
Um,
do, but I can't say it on stream, so I'll tell you later.
Not safe for stream. Lady V.
I mean, it is safe, but people are gonna misinterpret it, so I'd rather not.
Oh,
I want to know what
no.
kiwi flavored cookie dough tastes like.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
flavor
that
cookie
also
dough.
sounded inappropriate.
What?
I mean,
Oh,
I was
that might
gonna
have just
say
been
a
me.
really, really, really disgusting joke there, but I am not going to.
Yeah,
You know,
live
that's
stream
for
people.
not live
Remember
stream
that?
conversations.
I did not mean it in a weird way.
I know you
I
didn't.
mean,
Cookie. We're trying to control Cowie here.
What?
What?
I haven't done anything wrong yet.
She says
Yet?
yet at the end of it.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I mean, I haven't done anything wrong, and I'm not going to
She's getting there
until
though.
the
Like,
live stream ends.
She's working up to it. B, yes. Well, what usually helps migraines, if anything does?
No light.
Water, salt,
Water. Mm-hmm.
Water?
Water.
water,
I
salt.
would go
That's
with
that's a
food.
lame answer to that question. Let's
Brother, the lame answer is the right
I
answer.
didn't even hear the question. I heard
Well,
water.
I have a better
Reminded me
answer
I
for it.
need to
I
drink
just
more
can't
water.
say it on stream.
okay.
What is it?
Okay, let's put it this way: are you a man or a girl?
What?
God.
What?
Is the question directed for a man or a woman? Who asked the question?
Wait, what question?
Like, what helps migraines?
Oh. Well, I don't know.
If it's a man, it would be milk. If it's a woman, I would say the raindrops.
What?
Cool, that was pretty vague. Good for
oh,
you.
fuck. Oh,
And then the swearing happens. Here we go.
man, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault.
It's my fault.
I just got it.
Can we take some responsibility here?
Take responsibility for your feelings.
I will not.
I refuse.
I feel rather offended by this.
Mm.
Oh, wow, she became Texan now.
Oh, hard to starboard. Goodness, this is gonna sting.
Yikes.
Boy, howdy, did it sting.
He's also sting.
Ooh.
What? Are you still laughing?
I'm
That's
loving
what we
this
do here, we
cookie dough
laugh.
now.
Oh.
We have fun here. Go
Are you
secondaries,
policing my
go.
laugh, Cowie?
No, I'm really not. I think it's wonderful. Your laugh is making me laugh. So that means it's a very good laugh.
Oh, perfect.
Urshan described it good as a cackle. He's like, Ven cackles.
And she cackles like a witch.
I'm just waiting to unleash my true laugh.
Uh-oh.
That's scary.
I'm literally a walking like farm. Like I snort
That
like a
sounds
pig.
like a fritz.
No, I snort when I laugh, and then I can impersonate a chicken very well.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is comedic.
I need to hear this, please.
You want to hear the chicken?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to wake up my family. All right.
I want to wake up my family.
Oh, wait, okay, do you guys actually want to hear it?
Yes.
Alright.
I wouldn't suggest waking up your family, but what?
Yeah.
What? I cannot explain my disbelief with the current circumstances. Are you
Well-
actually chicken or are you lying?
No,
What?
like me.
I'm gonna have to mute.
Come on, guys, it's not that funny.
That was.
Says you.
Hey man,
Oh my god.
it was clucking beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
Oh my
worked
gosh,
very
my
hard
head
on
is
this
hurting.
Spectacular.
This
Why is that so
investigation.
good?
Wait, where are you going, Cowie? You're leaving us?
What?
What?
Me?
I thought you said you were exiting the conversation. I was
Oh
like, damn.
no, I was making a filthy egg pun.
Oh, wow. Cowie is not safe for stream. I don't know if
She's
we ever
not safe
wondered this,
for
but now we
stream.
know. He is not safe for stream. Good thing this is the end of the stream. You're not safe for stream.
What do you mean? I said egg. Like, cause I was clicking like a chicken. How's that not safe for stream?
It was an excellent joke. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And now a little bit of pun work towards the end of the stream.
Have you
It's
tried
nice.
like communicating with chickens?
I have. It actually works.
What's your spirit animal?
Probably a chicken or a rooster or something.
What do you say when a chicken goes to the gym 3 days a week?
Here we go.
I don't know.
They're all yoked up.
Nah!
Oh my
No, I'm pretty sure if they, I'm pretty sure if they. No, I'm not.
I'm sure you all appreciate my excellent sense of humor.
Oh my god.
gosh, you're horrible.
You gotta be yoking.
Nah!
Are you
Yup.
fucking serious? Or are you just ducking with me?
You're cracking me
Wow.
up.
Bruh. Bruh.
The
This
first
is what all my
person to
streams
stop
devolve
making
into.
these types of jokes. You don't wanna chicken out.
No.
Oh my god.
You also do a pigeon?
What?
Cookie dough is a pigeon, by the way. She doesn't like pigeons, but she sure brings them often.
No.
It traumatized me.
Traumatized you. Oh. Cookie dough is so sweet that when I told her the other day to pick an animal, and I said, well, don't worry about it. We're going to act like it doesn't exist. She started thinking of animals she was okay with not existing. So she was like, okay, I guess I'll pick a rat because it doesn't matter if they don't exist.
Good job,
But
I had
rats can be
rats,
kind of
rodents.
cute. No.
No, no, no.
Yes, they can.
You're wrong. Rats are
You're
disease-carrying pests upon rule.
Cookie dough, you want this cute rat to disappear? I'm gonna DM you the picture.
I mean,
You want this
If I
cute
had
rat to
to-
disappear?
if I had to choose,
Look at this cute rat.
I'm
I
glad
don't
this
have much
MBTI stream is
connection
staying
to
on track.
rats. I mean, rats, like, what type? What type do
you
I sent a DM to you. Look at that cute
Oh
rat.
no.
Have you ever
Let me
seen...
see.
Do you want that?
Let
rat
me
to
see. I'll
disappear?
type the rat. Send it to me, please.
Okay, that is actually really.
We're typing
You wanna
rats now,
type the
everybody.
rat? Like,
Type your rat, $5.
look at these cute rats.
Please post
You
a
want
picture
this-
in general so I can see it.
Do you want these rats to
Wait.
disappear, Cookie
Oh
dough?
my god. That looks like an INFP for sure. She's so cute. The little button nose, very pinky.
Look
You
at
wait.
these
What
cute
animal
little-
would you let disappear? Oh no.
The animal I would let disappear? Whew. Okay. Now I gotta think. I need to think of like a really like ugly animal that I don't think do good.
All
Okay,
these
let's
INFPs.
What's the most evil
Mosquito.
animal? Please do not say cat. Please do not say cat. 'Cause
It's
I
a
do not want.
mosquito.
Yeah,
No,
let
but
the mosquitoes
It's an
die.
insect. It's an
And
insect.
I'm not sure if we would call it an animal or not. Are mosquitoes
Okay,
animals?
True. True.
if God
Oh,
was
no.
for all of his creations, would mosquitoes not be in the choir?
Oh,
I said
Dude,
animal.
humans can go. Humans are
Humans?
technically
Yeah.
animals. Kill them all.
she's
No, I'm
like,
kidding.
I'm not going to kill a cat, but sure, let all the humans disappear.
Yeah. No, okay. I don't know, hippos? A hippo?
What did hippos do to you?
What did
They're
hippos
just
do?
kind of not cute. I guess.
They are not
also,
cute,
like,
so they gotta
Wow.
go.
well, okay,
So
wait.
does
Let
that
me Google. Wait, let me Google cute hippo.
You know, if we
So
did
does-
elections in the
Oh
animal
no, these are
kingdom,
kind of cute. Now I kind of regret that. But
we
wait, let me
should make
let me go.
Well, 1 second.
Okay,
What did
you
you
know
say, Aaron?
You know what?
No,
These are.
I'm not getting a bit confused. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to
Isn't
ahead,
a
create that
plant an animal?
What'd you say?
A plant? How can a plant be an animal?
Why would it not be an animal? It exists. It's like a creature, kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Well,
Okay, these dogs can go.
Oh god, those aren't dogs. Those are rats in disguise.
Yeah, like the rat dogs.
Those are free rats in
The
a
ones
suit.
that like are like, yeah, they very disease ridden, probably blind in at least one eye, is being mistreated by their owner. Just look at that dog. It's sad.
You say mistreated as if it should be treated any better than it already does.
Mm.
that looks like urchin, though.
You think that dog looks like urchin?
Okay,
look
so
at
now I
that.
have to find out what's being talked about.
No, it doesn't.
So
What
you're
do you
saying
mean?
Let me find a dog that
you
looks
want
like urchin.
disappear?
All right,
wanna
so for everyone on stream, I just want to point out this looks like urchin.
That's the dog I found.
Just pointing that out.
So basically, I'm just saying, if I want an animal to die, I'd let urchin die.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what you're saying. You said
Do you
if they're
agree
not
with
cute,
me,
so
then?
you're letting urchin die? Like, that's not nice.
I mean, you're right. You're right. It isn't. But
She didn't deny that it wasn't nice. Just
it isn't nice. But like, sure, I try to be nice, you know, and I am, but not all the time. No one can be that all the time.
says you, not with that attitude.
Excuse me?
Rat lives matter.
Alright,
Rat
meet me
lives
outside the
matter.
Denny's.
Do you have Denny's on that side of the
No,
world?
we don't.
Okay
We
then.
don't.
Side of the world.
Oh, which side of the world are they from?
I'm from the Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Which part of Northern
She's from the
Europe?
Northlands.
Scandinavia.
She's next to Cookie Dough. They could be best friends at this
Well,
point.
which country in Scandinavia? I'm either gonna shit talk to you or I'm gonna be your best friend, huh?
Swedish.
You are amazing. Never
Thank you.
change.
Thank you, thank you.
That's like the
I
second
can't stop
Swede I've
looking
met.
at the
Let's
dog.
smite the Danes together.
I would say about half the people I have met after starting the the YouTube Discord community thing, half of them were from the United States. The other half everywhere else in the world.
Sweden
Still
is like
surprised by
the
that.
best country to ever exist. Like Denmark's like a 6 out of 10, Norway's like a 7 out of 10. Sweden, solid 10 out of 10. No complaints.
I would say the only country in Scandinavia I would say who probably has it better is probably Iceland, but we're kind of on the same level. Like there's no natural disaster.
Iceland has like 5 people to share their resources between.
Yeah.
I want to go to Iceland. I would move to Iceland.
Take me with you.
is Really,
I
good,
will.
But
I was about to ask you, actually, do you want to come with me?
dude,
It-
I'll come with you both.
Okay.
I assume that the environment in Iceland is closer to what I need to survive. So mostly like overcast weather, maybe a little bit on the colder side. Seems like a place
Yeah.
that I'd probably need to be. Not
Sweden
the desert.
is like the pinnacle.
Sweden is pretty good.
Sweden is the
Iceland.
pinnacle of civilization.
I mean, we
The
do have,
pinnacle of
like, free healthcare
civilization.
and stuff. I wouldn't say we're pinnacle, but we do have free health.
Where does it get better in Sweden?
Do they,
Education, awesome. Healthcare, awesome. Inventions, awesome. Military, awesome.
Well, there you have it. Everyone moved to Sweden.
Ben, awesome. Wherever Ben is, awesome.
That is.
And that's what I heard.
I mean, I heard that too just now, and
Mhm.
it sounded pretty sound. Very based arguments there, I have to say. Facts and logic would dictate you to be correct.
And that's
Only
what that's
country- Only country
say?
even on the same level as Sweden is Bulgaria.
Yeah, and Iceland.
okay. You're a Sweden lover. We get it.
Yeah.
If you could choose one type to not exist, which one would it be?
Whoa.
EII.
Whoa. Whoa.
ASFP.
Nobody answer that question. My goodness.
I'm sorry.
I would gladly
Yeah.
delete all the FI users.
Arjun is not gonna answer that question. Wait,
You wanna
what?
delete me? You
What?
thought I was
You
cool a
want
moment
to
ago.
delete-
I'm Swedish, bro.
Right.
How about
You want-
We can have
keep
like an
cookie dough?
exception. We could do like a
Okay, so cookie
transfer.
dough and all the Swedish islands. Love that. We can survive.
I don't
Would
agree with it.
cookie dough.
I
I
which
like
country
you.
are you from?
I'm trying to bail myself out of death here.
Cookie dough. Which country are you from?
Netherlands.
Okay, you know what? You're kind of cool.
What?
Kind of, sort of.
Not as
Cookie dough,
cool
you're
as being
very cool.
Swedish, but it's close. Okay.
Cookie dough, you're very
Oh.
cool.
Okay, you
You
can
had a
still
Dutch
exist.
song earlier. What do you mean?
Actually Moroccan though, so
Okay.
I think you made it worse. Keep the Dutch. Keep the Dutch. Keep the Netherlands. I mean.
oh,
Which part of Morocco are you from?
Oh no, you ruined this for yourself. You know, don't blame us if you die.
if he doesn't like me, then he doesn't like me. I don't care.
Which part of Morocco?
North.
We're all gonna die.
The north, like which
You know,
city are you
We're
from?
gonna die together.
Like n- next to Nador. Like there.
Next to which city again?
Nador.
Let me pull up a map and see exactly where you're nearest. So,
Wow.
Trying to find her IP address, bro.
oh, Nador. Okay. You know what? You're like 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 mid. If you said you were from Fez or like Marrakesh, you would be hanged.
Why?
Hey, we're in a live stream, guys.
Why?
Please refrain from this hateful speech.
I don't know why. What does he
It's a
mean?
waste of a boat.
let's not even go in it. Let's not even go there. Anyway, all types are valuable. I don't think we should get rid of anybody because it's the world is amazing because it's made of many different types. Did that fix things for everybody? Hopefully.
I agree.
We love you all types. Urchin, say it with me. We love you all types.
We love every type.
There we
Probably.
go.
Oh,
No, Urchin.
how dare you?
We're trying to fix this. Like, he's
We're trying to fix
He
it.
wants. He wants war.
War.
right. Like I'm over here saying things I don't mean to make it sound good, and he's like,
You don't mean
probably.
No.
I don't
This is not.
necessarily enjoy lying to people. It's fun sometimes.
Sure.
But it's
Yeah, but you can lie. I know you can, and then you.
I
just
left
ruined
myself some wiggle room. You see.
Why on earth did
Okay.
Morocco change its capital to Rabat?
Oh, no.
Why would they do that?
Why?
Hmm?
Oh, Cookie Dough's throat is dying. Oh, I hope you feel better,
Okay.
Cookie Dough.
Oh no.
Oh, I've been texted 6 times. Oh.
It's some tea
Yeah, tea or something.
with honey.
And it goes, FI users can exist, just they're fine, I guess.
I know.
Wait.
Yay!
Oh.
All right, we're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna play a destroyer.
Your ship looks like it's straight out of the 23rd century.
Yep, it's a skin for the Minotaur. Looks neat, huh?
Did you throw it
You
to
have
Skip?
to see.
I love destroyers. Destroyers are so much funnier than battleships.
Yeah. Let's take a
Because,
look at
like,
my destroyer options here.
I tried to figure out how many like explosive things can we put on like a ship that's like a 1/20th the size of a battleship.
They figured it out.
How much kaboom can we put on a small ship?
Grazovoy. All right.
I'm gonna go.
Yes, it is time for
I'm
the
gonna
stream to
sleep.
end. Remember
Do you need
to
go?
like and subscribe. I do typings on the Discord. You got to make sure to fill out an application. Thank you all for showing up, for all like 9 of you that showed up to the stream today. I appreciate it, as always. Make sure to get typed for the low, low price of your soul. I like to thank my guests today. We've got Aaron's special guest today, and then we've got Ven, and we have Cookie Dough, and we have Kiwi, who showed up for the last 30 minutes of the stream.
Yay.
And so I think that'll be it for today. We ought to be streaming tomorrow, unless something dumb happens, but outside of that, we should be streaming. So take care, and see you tomorrow. Everyone say bye. Bye.